Good evening. Welcome to this regular meeting of the Poway Unified School Board. What day is it? It is May 9th, and it is 6:06. This meeting is being recorded and broadcast, so if you're here, you might be seen on that recording. Before we begin tonight, I want to acknowledge that we recently lost a beloved member of Team PUSD, and to speak briefly about him, I invite Chaparral Principal Dr. Denise Goulart to the speaker's desk. Oh, there you are. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for this time and space, Board of Trustees, to honor one of our own. My name is Denise Goulart, and I'm the site principal at Chaparral Elementary School. Our community was very saddened to hear of the passing of our night custodian, Rafi Manala Hansen, his sudden departure has left a void in our hearts and in our community. In recognition of his dedication, his genuine kindness, and the impact that he's made on PUSD, I ask that we have a moment of silence in his name. Please join me in paying our respects. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Goulart. I invite you now to stand and join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. For our report out of closed session, Clerk Couvrette.
So closed session began at 4:05, and the Board of Education took the following action. 2.1-A, in the matter of conference with legal counsel pending existing litigation, case number ADR 03272024, on a motion by Plotsky and a second by Seitzma, the board unanimously voted to approve the settlement agreement. 2.1-B, in the matter of conference with legal counsel pending existing litigation, case number ADR 03292024, on a motion by Plotsky and a second by Seitzma, the board voted unanimously to approve the settlement agreement. 2.1-C, in the matter of conference with legal counsel pending existing litigation, case number ADR 04262024, on a motion by Plotsky and a second by Patel, the board unanimously voted to approve the settlement agreement. Closed session recessed at 5:57, and we'll be going back at the end.
Thank you, Clerk Couvrette. Item 3.3, members in attendance. All 6 of us are here. Hey, everybody. 3.4 is our welcome to the public. Ms. Trivedi.
Welcome to the monthly meeting of the Board of Education. If you would like to address the board on any agenda item, please complete a speaker slip. All requests to speak must be submitted to the clerk of the board before the agenda item comes up. Speaking time for agenda items is 2 minutes per speaker. If you would like to address the board on a non-agendized item, you may do so under item 4.2, public comments. Speaking time is limited to 2 minutes per speaker, with a maximum of 30 minutes total unless waived by the board president. There will be a 30-second yellow warning light when time is running out. Speakers may speak only on one topic under item 4.2 and may not defer their speaking time to another individual. If there are concerns regarding specific individuals, it is preferred that the speaker refrain from naming them publicly to respect their privacy. The board will accept and review any written materials that would provide more specific information. The Brown Act does not permit board action or extended discussion of any item not on the agenda, but your concerns will be referred to staff. With that said, welcome and thank you for coming.
Thank you, Ms. Trivedi. Item 3.5 is approval of the agenda and sequence. I would like us to, I'll just make this motion to move items 4.3, 4.4, and 4.5 up after 4.1 and before 4.2 public comment in recognition of all of the AVID fans we have here at Standing Room Only. Is there a second?
Second.
On a motion by O'Connor Ratcliffe, second by Couvret. All in favor, I'll start with Ms. Trivedi. And everyone else?
Aye.
Aye, all right, that passes unanimously, thank you. That takes us to 4.1. Let's go to those student representatives. Okay, we're good, never mind. From Mount Carmel, Soliel Bromwell, welcome.
Good evening, board members. I'm Soleil Bramwell. I am Mount Carmel's vice president and will be president for the 2024 to 2025 school year. And here's a little update on what's happening with the Sun Devils. This week and into next week, our Sun Devils are starting AP testing. I actually took my psych test this morning. With lots of studying and review groups, our Sun Devils are showing off everything we learned throughout this whole year. Another event that's happening this week is Teacher Appreciation, where our ASB students created teacher doors to thank all of our teachers for all their hard work and dedication, with also showing off all their hobbies and likes. During May, we have many activities to engage our students. We have a giant dodgeball tournament coming up as a bonding experience for all of our school levels. We also have our Sun Devil Bowl, which is an upperclassmen event for the girls, where the junior girls and senior girls take on each other in a flag football match. We also have a friendly game against the Westview upperclass seniors and juniors in the Battle of the 56. As the school year comes to a close, our athletics, arts, and other art classes are winding down to end to prepare for finals and the beginning of summer. I cannot wait to see everything that will happen and create more memories and friendships. I appreciate your time and what's happening in the Red Sea, and remember, it's great to be a Sun Devil.
Thank you. And next from Poway to Palomar Middle College, Laith Chalal, welcome.
Good evening. My name is Laith Shalal. I am the senior class president at Poway to Palomar Middle College, and I'm excited to share what we're up to at PPMC and what we've been up to this past year. As all schools at this time of year, we are very busy at PPMC. We held our spring showcase at May 1st, and it was out in our courtyard. The weather was beautiful, and it was picnic themed. Students had a chance to showcase club, class, and internship work. We had a wonderful musical performance from our music club, and our student panel did a great job talking about their personal experiences at PPMC. This is always a great time for families and community members to engage with our students, and we will be carrying on this tradition next year. Our junior and senior prom is next Saturday at the Heights with an old Hollywood theme. ASB is busy planning and prepping to make sure that the night is very magical. Tomorrow, our equity and inclusion team will be presenting our final No Place for Hate lesson for the year, and this focus will be on addressing anti-Semitic incidents with allyship and advocacy. This team, along with our student affairs team, is also working on posts and presentations for current and upcoming awareness months. Towards the end of 12th grade, seniors who had participated in the internship program will have developed either social impact projects for real-world organizations in the United States or a personal defense of their career readiness learning. They'll present their work as part of their demonstration of progress in their internship curriculum, and these presentations will address 5 critical career sustainability skills, ranging from analytical reasoning, systematically thinking, collaborating productively, and proudly communicating. And these are delivered before a panel of administrator, staff, and sponsors and peers, defending what they have learned and that they are ready for the next stage of their career development. Speaking of our seniors, by the end of the year, our seniors will have completed a total of 223 college courses over the course of their time at PPMC. This inaugural class of PPMC is so excited to celebrate this achievement and others at our upcoming senior activities and graduation. The last week of May will be a very busy one. Plans include a trip to SeaWorld, a senior picnic and breakfast, and then, of course, our very first ever graduation ceremony. We have come so far and can't wait to celebrate during these culminating events. Finally, we are so grateful for you, district and board members, for allowing POA de Palomar Middle College to continue. We have already enrolled students for next year's class, and this class for next year's junior class will be our biggest class yet. We are now meeting with our new families and getting them prepared to sign up for new PPMC classes, and we appreciate your consideration and support more than you ever know. Thank you for all of your time.
From Design 39 campus, Sanvi Padareddy. Welcome.
Dear esteemed board members and guests, my name is Samipati Reddy, and I am in 8th grade at Design 39 campus. Today, I want to discuss an extraordinary place, Design 39 campus. It's more than just a school. It's a vibrant community where students are empowered to become designers of their future. At Design 39, the focus is on the individual learner. Every student has unique talents and interests, and our curriculum is crafted to nurture those. Imagine a place where classrooms aren't just rows of desks, but collaborative spaces that buzz with creativity. Here, students just memorize facts. They tackle real-world problems through design thinking. For example, in past years, students have tried to create their own businesses through a process called Shark Tank, and those that do make their own businesses and go through. However, the ones that don't make their own resumes and take cover letters from their teachers to join other students' business. So it prepares students for the real world. This approach fosters a culture of inquiry. Students are encouraged to answer questions, delve deep into subjects, and connect their learning to the world around them. They don't just learn from textbooks. They use technology and real-world tools to bring their ideas to life. For example, when we were learning about circuits and the flow of electricity, students made their own circuit boards and add on electrical wires through soldering with a solder. We don't just learn in theory. We put those learning and ideas to use. But Design 39 isn't just about academics. Students understand the importance of fostering a strong community. As someone who has been here for 10 years, I can confidently say that I know every single person there. We have so many opportunities to meet and connect with other students. We change classroom groups every 2 years in elementary school and every year in middle school. However, this socializing is wider than grade level. Third graders are often paired with kindergartners as reading buddies, and we have also an annual science project that requires 8th graders to create a children's book for our school's 2nd graders. We also have great events where other students can get to know each other, such as Hangout 39 and after-school sports activities. However, most of our after-school events would not have been possible without the D39C Collaborative, a dedicated group of volunteers who work tirelessly to enrich the student experience. They believe in the power of collaboration, not just within the classroom walls, but reaching and connecting out globally. Perhaps the most important aspect of Design 39 is its emphasis on growth mindset. It instills the courage to take risks, the perseverance to overcome challenges, and the belief that anyone can achieve their goals. In this nurturing environment, students develop the confidence to become the change makers of tomorrow. So if you're looking for a school that pushes boundaries, ignites creativity, and empowers students to become lifelong learners, then look no further than Design 39 campus. It's a place where learning takes flight and the possibilities are endless. Thank you.
All right, we've got Connect Academy here tonight. Renash Bayali, Elise Obedoza, and Bells Last Small. Come on down.
Good evening, members of the board, Superintendent Mizell, and cabinet members. My name is Bells Last Small, and I'm an 8th grade student at Connect Academy. Today, I'm joined by 2nd grader Rayansh Bile and 6th grade student Elise Obedoza. Thank you for inviting us to speak at tonight's meeting. There have been many incredible things happening at Connect Academy this year. To begin, we are honored to be awarded as a Common Sense Recognized School for Digital Citizenship and receive a new 3D printer for our work. Rayansh will begin telling you a little bit about what our elementary classes have been doing.
Hi, my name is Riyansh Biali and I am in 2nd grade. In our elementary school, we are learning all about animals and their habitats to get ready for our exciting field trip to the San Diego Safari Park. This will be an all-school trip that will include first grade all the way through 8th. We love working together at Connect Academy. Currently, our 3rd through 6th grade classes are working together to create neurodiverse math videos to help teach other students math. We are also learning fractions, area, and perimeter by doing an interactive pizza garden project that includes working in our garden to grow ingredients, make pizzas, and share our learning with all grades at our school. Other highlights include making recycled paper, writing books and poetry, designing sustainable cars using solar panels, making a giant California topography map that shows water sources, and building culturally inclusive community to help teach people to be inclusive. We have so much fun working together and learning from each other and our amazing teachers. We will miss them next year.
Good evening. My name is Elisa Bedoza, and I'm currently a 6th grade student at Connect Academy. Our middle school class got back late last night from our annual trip to Disney Imagination campus. It was so much fun, and we got to go behind the scenes to learn about the technology and science of Disney rides and attractions. Excuse me. The trip is a culmination of the Disney Imagineering projects we've been working on in our classes all year. In our Exploring Tech class, using digital art, we designed our own theme parks while making connections to math, science, and writing in our other content classes. 6th and 7th grade students recently finished writing their theme park narrative stories, which are based on our original theme park designs. Furthermore, we get to design rides and roller coasters as we learn about force and motion in the theme park technology. In 7th grade, students are collaborating with the 2nd grade class to 3D print wacky animals where they combine 2 different animals in preparation for our field trip to the San Diego Safari Park this month. On the trip, middle school students will also be looking into the many careers that make the park function. We will use this with the information we gain from our Zillow portfolios to make educated decisions about our own futures. We want to thank PUSD, the CTE department, for collaborating with us on these projects. We are proud of all of our hard work this year, which was displayed at each of our trimester celebrations of learning. One highlight from our last celebration was the work we did for Black History Month. There were many student-created videos, magazine covers, and door decorations that honored incredible contributions Black Americans had made to our country. We hope you will all come to one of our celebrations in the future. Thank you.
We also need to celebrate one of our outstanding 8th grade students, Emily D., who won first place in the Greater San Diego Science and Engineering Fair in Biomedical Engineering in the Junior Division, and won first place in the Society of Women's Engineering for Science and Engineering Divisions. Additionally, she won second place at the, She won second place at the California Science and Engineering Fair in the Cognitive Science category, and was nominated to participate in the Thermo Fisher Junior Innovators Challenge. Emily created a smart bracelet that listens to the student's speech and determines if the child said the word correctly. This system was integrated into a game, which acts as a supplementary tool for students enrolled in speech therapy to practice their speech articulation anytime and anywhere. Her work is truly amazing. This is just one example of the amazing passion projects our students are working on. Connect Academy has always embraced our strengths, interests, and passions, which is one of the things that makes it such a special place to learn. Earlier this year, we were given the prompt, at Connect Academy, I feel blank. Answers included respected, valued, kindness, heard, empathy, welcome, etc. As we wind down this year, we see that these statements still remain true. As students, we chose Connect Academy for a variety of reasons, whether it be flexibility so we can train for a competitive sport, medical conditions that prohibit us from attending a traditional school, or feelings of anxiety and safety, or we just want to be an innovative approach to learning. Whatever the reason, we have found a place where we can belong and together, and it's Connect Academy. We realize that it's the environment, cultures, and teachers who make us feel this way. Our teachers are so important to what Connect Academy is, and while we're sad to see the elementary portion of Connect Academy close, we're excited and optimistic about the possibilities of what the middle school move to Design 39 will bring. As we move forward, remember it's our teachers who have had the greatest impact on our unique, outstanding, and educational environment. Thank you for your time.
And lastly, from Shoal Creek Elementary School, Andrew Kupke and Andari Ochola.
Good evening, board members. My name is Andrew Kupke, and I am a 5th grade student at Shoal Creek Elementary School. This past September, our school celebrated our 25th anniversary with a welcome back picnic. Our students and families came together to celebrate this milestone for our school, and we had lots of fun, especially with Ollie the Otter, our school mascot. We also had our start with Hello Week, where students came to school and read lots of kind messages welcoming us back, and in different languages as well. In January, we had our Kindness Week. Students and I read this part. Students and staff exchanged kind messages with each other, and it ended with our kindness dance, which had games and snacks and a DJ with lots of dancing. This year, I had the opportunity to be part of the Junior Hope Squad. This squad fosters human connection, community, and hope by elevating mental well-being through this peer-to-peer suicide prevention program. I have enjoyed being part of this group and helping students when they need it.
Good evening, board members. My name is Andari Ochola, and I am a 4th grade student at Shoal Creek Elementary. One of my favorite things that we do at our school is Friday Flat. My teacher always calls students up to share their jokes with us, and the jokes are funny. Every class has a college chant, and we get to share them each month. Some other fun happenings at our school this year includes our annual Fall Festival in October, our Heritage Night where our families share their traditions, food, clothing, dance, and music. We also get to do a scavenger hunt and collect a prize at the end. In April, we had our science night with lots of hands-on activities that students and families got to do and experience science. This year, I am part of the No Place for Hate student group and a Safe School ambassador. Our No Place for Hate group helps plan and do activities 3 times a year. Our last lesson focused on 3 Shoal Creek expectations: be safe, be respectful, and be responsible. And we created lessons that were specific to our playground interactions with each other. Being a Safe School ambassador helped me learn how to notice mistreatment, think about the mistreatment, and act by balancing, supporting, reasoning, distracting, or getting help. Being an ambassador helps me make a positive difference in our school. We would like to end by sharing our school motto. At Shoal Creek, we work hard, be kind, have fun, and keep smiling. Thank you.
Thank you all very much. You are, of course, welcome to stay and help us celebrate AVID, but we understand it's nearing the end of the year and you got a lot going on. We just heard AP studying is happening. That's not an excuse for the elementary, but you guys could go too if you'd like. Otherwise, we are ready to begin item 4.3, our appointment of our student board member who will serve next year. Mr. Mizell.
So based upon board-adopted bylaw 9150, we're asking the board tonight to approve the appointment of Sinead Kiley from Del Norte High School as the student board member for the 2024-2025 school year. A subcommittee of us met on April 23rd, 2024 to interview finalists from each of our high schools, and as you can imagine, it was a deep pool of talented people. But Sinead really stood out. She stood out through her application, her experience, and her interview. Her passion and dedication, serving students and improving how our school and the district meet students' needs was truly inspiring. We know she'll do an excellent job. Her term of office will start at the first board meeting in August 2024 and end at the last board meeting in June 2025. At this time, we ask the board to approve Sinead's appointment and Raina Agrawal from Poway High as the alternate.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mizell. And Sinead, can you just wave so everyone knows who you are? Yay! I would offer the motion and second to our two board members who sat on the committee.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Ms. Couvret, second by?
Me.
Ms. Plotsky. And I will go down to our student board member who was also on the panel for the first vote.
Aye.
And everybody else? Aye. Welcome. We're excited to have you, Sinead. And next time we introduce you, you'll have to speak, but not tonight. All right, item 4.4, this is AVID. AVID and AVID Excel, 8th grade and senior standouts. I will turn it over to Ms. Peterson.
Thank you, Madam President. We are so pleased to recognize our AVID standouts this evening. We will have our interim superintendent, Greg Mizell, and board president, Michelle O'Connor Ratcliffe, at the front of the dais to recognize our AVID standouts with a certificate. We will call each student standout one at a time to the front, along with their school's AVID staff members and administrators for a picture. The following students are AVID and AVID Excel 8th grade and senior standouts. AVID stands for Advancement via Individual Determination. AVID's mission is to close the achievement gap by preparing all students for college readiness and success in a global society. AVID Excel is designed to prepare middle school English learners to enter high school AVID by accelerating language acquisition and developing literacy to succeed in college preparatory coursework in high school. Each year, we celebrate 8th grade AVID and AVID Excel, as well as our senior AVID standouts from each middle school and high school. These outstanding students are chosen for their strong academic performance and commitment to their community. So let's begin. 8th grade AVID standouts. Lemuel Fornastoro, Bernardo Heights Middle School, AVID coordinator Denise Flynn, Principal Marie Galaz, and Assistant Principal Cristal Montalvo. Lem is a natural leader who is always striving to be the best possible version of himself and help those around him. He excels at self-advocacy and can step into any leadership role with charisma and confidence. Thank you, Lem, for truly encompassing Bobcat pride and being a great role model for your peers. We look forward to the great things you are bound to accomplish in your future endeavors. Congratulations. Modazer Hataki, AVID Excel, Black Mountain Middle School. AVID Coordinator Danielle Reyes, English Learner Coordinator Danielle Brown, and Principal Darcel Glover. Modazer has made tremendous growth as an AVID Excel student this year. His confidence has grown as an English speaker and a student. He jumped a whole grade level and a half on iReady, consistently has an A in class, and always comes prepared. He is one of the first students to pull out needed materials for the day and turn in work. Madazer's hard work in class has truly paid off and shown what it means to be a Black Mountain AVID Excel student. Congratulations. Malia Rose Jimenez, Black Mountain Middle School, AVID Coordinator Danielle Reyes, and Principal Darcel Glover. In her 2 years in AVID at Black Mountain, Malia has demonstrated what it means to be individually determined. Malia comes to school every day with a positive, caring attitude, ready to learn, persevere through obstacles, and help others along the way. She has stepped into the leadership roles of a peer tutor and AVID ambassador, which has increased her confidence and supported her AVID family members along the way. Malia has applied to be an AVID Summer Institute student speaker in hopes to continue teaching others about the AVID impact. Congratulations. Maya Felix, Design 39 Campus, AVID Coordinator Ashley Rupert, and Principal Bobby Coy. Maya was selected as the standout student because she has really stepped up to the challenge of AVID. She shows up every day with a smile on her face and an eager attitude. Maya is diligent in her work and ensures it is done with 110% effort. She has a creative mind with endless questions, which makes every day in AVID an exciting adventure. We are thrilled to see her flourish in her next journey in high school. Congratulations. Karina Rizakanova, AVID Excel, Meadowbrook Middle School, AVID Coordinator Catherine Mellis, AVID Excel Elective Teacher Roman Delgado, and Principal Crystal Brownlee. Karina is a bright, talented, and charismatic student that I have had the privilege to teach this year. Well, I have not, but her teacher did. She is one of the most kind-hearted individuals who works hard to consistently receive high marks in her classes and is a clear example for other students to follow. She has ambitions and goals and is willing to put in the work, and the fact that she is multilingual is but one of her many tools she will carry forth with her into the future. Congratulations. Brian, our next student, is not able to attend for Meadowbrook, but we will read congratulations to Brian Tuntai. Meadowbrook Middle School AVID Coordinator Catherine Mellis and Principal Crystal Brownlee. Brian was nominated by his peers as our AVID standout this year because he consistently embodies the AVID spirit. Brian excels in managing his assignments and shines during tutorials where he acts as a leader, mentor, and collaborative team member. His actions embody the core values of the AVID College Readiness System, displaying thorough preparedness for daily tasks and assignments while demonstrating empathy and support to his peers. His dedication extends beyond the classroom. He is often seen assisting teachers and participating in campus cleanup activities after school. Remarkably, he accomplishes all this while maintaining a perfect 4.0 GPA. Brian is a valuable member of our AVID program, and we are confident he will continue to achieve great things in the future. Congratulations, Brian. Sunny Waits, Mesa Verde Middle School, AVID Coordinator Amy McCoy and Principal Kelly Moore. Sunny's presence at school constantly brightens our days with her outgoing personality and positive attitude. She arrives daily with a smile and is a steadfast support for her classmates. She truly makes the classroom a better place for all of us each and every day. She excels when faced with challenges, advocating for herself, collaborating effectively with peers, and actively engaging by asking questions. We are grateful for the energy that Sunny consistently brings and look forward to the wonderful achievements her future holds. Congratulations. Adam Ong, Oak Valley Middle School, AVID coordinators, Summer Yameli and Jessica Mosteller, Principal Colin Young, and Assistant Principal Bonnie Gonzalez. Adam shines brightly within our AVID community, embodying the core values of Oak Valley Middle School with kindness and determination. His commitment to excellence is evident in every aspect of his academic journey, as he not only excels in his own studies, but also extends a helping hand to his peers whenever needed. His innate ability to advocate for himself and others sets him apart as a role model within our AVID family. Adam's exceptional work ethic and genuine kindness make him a valued member of our school community, both in and out of the classroom. Oak Valley Middle School is proud to call Adam one of our own, and we eagerly anticipate the great contributions he will make to our world. Congratulations. Melanie Guerva, our next student for Twin Peaks Middle School, is not able to attend this evening, but Melanie Guerva, AVID Excel Twin Peaks Middle School AVID coordinator, Mickey Matatia, and AVID Excel elective teacher, Ethan Kaufman, Principal Stephen Mills, and Assistant Principal Jessica Turner. Melanie embodies the spirit of AVID, our Ohana family, and more importantly, a newfound pride in herself, which has developed through her AVID participation. Melanie takes her AVID skills and applies them to her other classes and sets an example for others. She embraces challenges and never backs down when faced with adversity. Her bilingualism is not only a gift to her, but to others, and she supports other bilingual students. Melanie stands out to us because of her grit to want more for herself and her future. Congratulations, Melanie. Parker Rohr, Twin Peaks Middle School, AVID coordinator, Mickey Matatia, and Principal Stephen Mills, and Assistant Principal Jessica Turner. Parker emanates the true AVID Ohana spirit at Twin Peaks. Her leadership and dedication to success are guides she uses to help herself and others through challenges. Being the best version of herself liberates others and inspires them to do the same. Parker's big heart and smile is contagious. She is always willing to welcome a new friend and encourage an old one to work as hard as she does. Parker is an incredible AVID standout who continues to work on building a strong RAM community at Twin Peaks and for our AVID Ohana. Congratulations. And now our high school senior AVID standouts. Julia Vizard from Del Norte High School, AVID coordinator Kenneth Simmons, AVID elective teacher Kristen James, and Principal Ty Eveleth. Julia is a strong, independent self-starter who is committed to excelling in everything she pursues. She consistently engages in class discussions, collaborates effectively with her peers, and demonstrates a genuine passion for excellence. Julia is appreciated for her consistent positive attitude, which, along with her integrity and perseverance, makes her a shining example to her classmates. Julia will be attending Baylor University, majoring in kinesiology. Congratulations. Jasmine Tran, Mount Carmel High School, AVID coordinator Susan Randall, Principal Yael Bozay, and Assistant Principal Matt Hunt. From her freshman year, it was clear that Jasmine would one day be recognized as the senior standout at Mount Carmel High School. Her commitment to the AVID program, personal development, athletics, and various clubs mark her as a leader and an exemplary student. Jasmine is currently weighing her options for higher education, considering the University of California, Santa Barbara, the University of California, Santa Cruz, and the University of Hawaii, Manoa. She plans to pursue a degree in international business with a focus on fashion design and policy. Congratulations to Jasmine on her achievements and contributions to AVID at the Mount. Congratulations. Mackenzie Lopez, Poway High School. AVID coordinators Karen Kawasaki Williams and Sherry Lockey. And Principal Richard Nash. As AVID co-president, Mackenzie has organized our AVID recommitment ceremony and shared her high school journey with a gym full of people at 8th grade family night. In class and on campus, she takes initiative, provides encouragement to peers, and works hard to achieve her college dreams. Mackenzie is resilient, kind, creative, and determined to make a difference in her community. Mackenzie recently won the Cindy Bishop AVID Scholarship, and she will attend the University of California, Riverside, where she will study psychology. Congratulations. Samantha Fordham, Rancho Bernardo High School. AVID coordinator Leanne Marshall, Principal Hans Becker, and Assistant Principal Anthony Bradley. Samantha is an outstanding AVID student and won the Donald Costa AVID Scholarship. She embodies courage, resilience, and demonstrates deep commitment along with a passion for family, mathematics, and education. Samantha is considering several universities for her higher education, including California Polytechnic State University in San Luis Obispo or Pomona, University of California, Santa Cruz, and San Diego State University. Her academic interests lie in pursuing a degree in materials engineering, mechanical engineering, or electrical engineering. Her achievements are a source of great pride at Rancho Bernardo High School. Congratulations. And Aiden Liu, Westview High School. AVID coordinators Jose Lucero and Kimberly Bennett, and Principal Ernie Remillard. In Aiden's college essay, his father aptly described him as a Renaissance man, a label that resonates through his diverse pursuits and achievements. His broad range of volunteer activities illustrates his versatile talents, from contributing to the Boy Scouts and the Chinese Association of Science and Technology to teaching magic at a youth development resource center. Additionally, Aiden shares his passion for Taekwondo as both a student and instructor, and creatively engages young minds as a Lego engineer. As an integral member of the AVID family, he actively participates in academic discussions, collaborates with peers, and consistently seeks ways to assist others. Aiden's multifaceted interests and skills make him a valued and respected member of our community. Aiden is deciding between San Diego State University, University of California, Santa Cruz, Worcester Polytechnic Institute, or Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute, where he will study mechanical engineering. Aiden is the winner of the AVID Founders Scholarship. Congratulations. We're going to move on to our AVID tutor standouts in 1 moment. Just need water. That was a lot of reading. All right. Tonight, we also recognize our AVID tutor standouts. These valued staff members are a key component of our AVID college readiness systems. They are trained in the AVID tutorial process in order to support students' writing, reading, inquiry, collaboration, and organizational skills development. The tutor standouts being recognized tonight have shown exemplary service to our students. They serve as role models who offer opportunity knowledge about college and careers, encourage the development of student agency, and inspire our young people to be the very best versions of themselves every day. We will call all of the tutor standouts to the front of the dais together to receive their certificates and take a picture with Interim Superintendent Greg Mizell and Board President Michelle O'Connor Ratcliffe. AVID tutor standouts. Andrew Diaz. Andrew has served as a dedicated tutor for the PUSD AVID program for 4 years. He is a self-starter and has proven to be an invaluable resource to his fellow tutors. As a mentor for our AVID elective students, Andrew offers personalized support, meaningful feedback, and consistent assistance, enhancing their educational experience. His kindness, patience, and genuine concern for the success of our students have significantly strengthened our AVID community. Thank you, Andrew. Jenny Hahn. Jenny is an extraordinary AVID tutor whose impact has been profound, especially as she has been a significant support to one of our school's first year of the AVID electives implementation. Her dedication, creativity, and systematic approach not only make learning fun, but also ensure that everything runs seamlessly. Jenny has gone above and beyond in assisting students and establishing connections widely, even beyond our AVID cohort. Her support positively affects all students. We are immensely grateful for the contributions she has made to enhance our educational environment. Thank you, Jenny. Cheyenne Dalton. Cheyenne significantly enhances our students' experiences each day. Renowned for her vibrant personality, passion for learning, and innate ability to forge relationships, Cheyenne is a dependable presence. Our AVID students unanimously recognize her as an exceptional tutor because she consistently ensures that each individual feels wholly supported. Having made a lasting impression as an AVID student, Cheyenne has now cemented her legacy as a tutor within the Poway Unified AVID program. Thank you, Cheyenne. And Aiden Simpson. Aiden Simpson has been recognized as an AVID tutor standout, demonstrating a level of dedication to students that is truly exceptional. Aiden's commitment to helping students master complex concepts is evident in his willingness to relearn chemistry, aiding students in a subject that has proven challenging. He invests time in building meaningful relationships with each student, tailoring his approach to their individual learning styles and needs. Beyond academics, Aiden embodies a spirit of generosity, fostering joy and warmth throughout the AVID community. Aiden excels in connecting with students and making even the most challenging subjects accessible. Congratulations, Aiden. We are deeply grateful for your invaluable presence. Thank you. Thank you to our AVID tutors, and I think we're going to get one final group shot.
Let's say one more round of applause for all of our AVID standouts. Thank you all so much, and if you want to stay, you're welcome. If you'd like to go, I'm going to take about a 1-minute recess here to let you wander out.
Well, I probably should chat with a couple of people.
Holy moly.
All right, I think we're ready to move on. 4.2 is public comments. If you would like to address the board, please fill out a public speaker request and submit it to Ms. Anderson before the agenda item is called. Speaking time is limited to 2 minutes per speaker with a maximum of 30 minutes total, so submitting a card does not guarantee you will be able to speak. Reminder, if you have concerns regarding specific individuals, it's preferred that you refrain from naming them publicly. The appropriate complaint process can be obtained again from Ms. Anderson. The board will not allow any disturbance or willful interruptions of our meeting. We have an expectation that everyone here will conduct themselves with decorum, respect, and civility. And with that in mind, Clerk Couvrette, please call the first speaker.
Tim Dockery.
Can we close the door over there so that we don't have the lobby noise? Thank you very much.
Thanks. So, good evening. My name is Tim Doherty, and first I want to take a moment to appreciate all of our amazing teachers here at PUSD. It is Teacher Appreciation Week, so thank you to all the dedicated past and present educators in the room tonight. So tonight I'm announcing my candidacy for PUSD Board of Education Trustee Area A, and my mission is to help ensure our district provides a high-quality education, keeps our students and teachers safe, and manages its budget with care. While our district has many success stories, it also faces significant challenges ahead. We have a $185 million backlog in school facility projects, declining test scores, and a $30 million budget shortfall this year. Another $52 million shortfalls projected over the next 3 years, and that's with cuts that are proposed. The recent termination of our superintendent after a lengthy investigation adds to the uncertainty. I believe in focusing on fundamentals. As a PTA member for years, including 2 as president and a school site council chairman for 3 years, I've worked with parents and teachers to make our schools better. I also manage a global supply chain and operations in my professional life, and I've been an educator myself. I've spoken here before, advocating for common sense solutions and voicing the concerns of parents and the community. If elected, I'll work with the current board members to ensure transparency and accountability as we address these challenges together. Please visit my website at timdforpusd.com to learn more. That's timdforpusd.com. And finally, I do want to thank everyone in the room tonight. We are all here because we care about the education and the future of our students, so thank you.
Dr. Devesh Vashitha.
Good evening. My name is Dr. Devesh Vashishta, and at the last board meeting, I announced my candidacy for POWE Unified School Board Trustee Area A. Last meeting, I spoke about the urgent need of student mental health and how it's critical that we continue to provide resources towards that issue. Today, I'd like to focus my time on the budget and the budget shortfall. I really have appreciated the board's approach, particularly in trying to limit cuts that are near the classroom, so preserving school classroom sizes, obviously keeping our personnel, unlike our neighboring district, which did have to cut a number of staff and teachers. To me, that emphasis on protecting the classroom is so important. I grew up in public schools in Irvine and attended UC San Diego, have 3 degrees from there. And so for me, protecting public education is really a key value of this campaign. When it comes to budget, I approach it in my sort of role as a doctor and also medical director at a large community health center. And so we similarly have to address budget cuts and sort of adjust to changes in what the state and federal government provide. And I always think, similar to how you think about looking at the classroom, I focus on the doctor-patient interaction. How do we limit cuts that shorten appointment times or that prevent the doctor and the patient from connecting? And that's where I focus my effort and time. So I think I would bring that sort of attitude to the board. I think it's important to have a healthcare worker also in this position because we do have a unique sort of insight into how to serve our students. So thank you for your time. Again, it's Dr. Devesh Vashishta, and I'm running for Poway Unified Trustee Area A. My website is deveshforpusd.com, deveshforpusd.com. Thank you.
Kristen French.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, sorry. Okay, I want to start by asking if you have any little ones in the room, I'd ask them to leave, please, before I share. My name is Kristen. I'm a mom of 4 in the PUSD district. I want to start by asking you if you think that it is acceptable to share sexually explicit material with children. I'm going to read quotes from the sex education curriculum being taught next week in the PUSD middle school, to PUSD middle schoolers. Lesson 1, page 39, explains that an erect penis put into a vagina is called vaginal sex. An erect penis put into an anus is called anal sex. An erect penis put into a mouth is called oral sex. Goes on to explain that digital sexual contact involves the insertion of fingers into a vagina or anus. Page 55 of the curriculum binder, lesson 1, an erect penis may be put into the anus during sexual intercourse. Some people choose to put a penis, fingers, or an object into the anus during sex. In the terms glossary, oral sex is an activity using the mouth to stimulate a partner's genitalia. There is absolutely no reason and zero educational benefit from talking to children about anal sex, putting objects and fingers into their anus, digital sex, oral sex, and how oral sex is a way to stimulate their partner's genitalia. It is absolutely appalling that the school district thinks that these are necessary topics for children, and the fact that the Poway Unified School District would make it so incredibly difficult for parents to have the details of these lessons so that they can make an informed decision on whether or not they want their child to be exposed to such sexually explicit material is also extremely upsetting. Sex education needs to be an opt-in option, not an opt-out. Many parents I have shared this with didn't even know that the unit was starting next week. I had to share it online. I emailed you all and never heard back. So the lack of transparency is extremely upsetting. We, as parents, honestly, as PUSD, should be ashamed that you are backing this material. This is sexually explicit. It's over-sexualizing our children. It does not need to be discussed. These are educators talking to minors about putting objects in their anus. Why is this in the curriculum? We are urging you to remove.
Rochelle Babler. Rochelle Babler.
The sentiment expressed through Nextdoor's social media and various media outlets is that many in the community, potentially hundreds or thousands, are deeply disappointed with the board's delayed response in dealing with the superintendent. It took you way too long to take action, and it appears that it was only taken in response to the filing of a lawsuit and the significant pressure from the community and media attention. Now that the superintendent has been terminated, we, as concerned members and taxpayers demand transparency regarding the findings of your internal investigation. There are numerous online discussions where community members are calling for the board to release the findings, including any information received from third-party sources that contributed to your investigative efforts. While we understand the results will not put the board in a favorable light, it is our right to understand the full scope of what was uncovered. The investigation was done for the public, not you. It was paid for by the taxpayer, not you. It is not yours to hide in secrecies behind closed doors. I also want to make sure you're aware that there are reports of the former superintendent still intimidating students and players at the softball fields. We want to know what action you're going to take to put an end to inappropriate behavior once and for all. Children, families, and the community are watching you. Your actions speak 1,000 words. By your actions, you demonstrate to every student what behaviors are acceptable and what the consequences of unacceptable behaviors are. It is imperative that your response clearly communicates that such conduct will not be tolerated and will be met with consequences. While the board may consider the matter with the superintendent resolved, the community clearly does not and continues to watch your actions intently. As you are all aware, I have announced a recall effort of 3 of you, and the superintendent's termination with cause does not change this, in case you're wondering. The board was asleep at the wheel, requiring others to step in and address issues that were within your purview, ultimately leading to the superintendent's embarrassing termination. Moving forward, the decisions and actions you undertake will not only define your capabilities as fiduciaries to the public, but also
Olga Reyes. Olga Reyes.
Good evening, board. My name is Olga Reyes, and I am the mother of the senior softball student that came to speak to you at the November board meeting. I was honestly afraid of retaliation against her, us, like I am sure most people would be, but I fully supported her. Today I come to you because 2 of our softball coaches who spoke at this November meeting were not asked to come back to coach at the Del Norte High School. They were pretty much fired, clearly in my eyes, retaliation. One of them having over a decade of serving our community as a Del Norte High School softball coach. Michelle, you stated at the last special board meeting that the reason for termination of the superintendent was that you, quote, lost all confidence and trust in her, unquote. If that is the case, I ask you, plead with you, to please return the coaches back to their respective positions. They were let go unjustly and on the account of someone that you mentioned you lost trust in. Please do the right thing. And if I may hand the clerk a signed letter by the softball parents, I'd appreciate that. Thank you.
Scott Fisher. Scott Fisher.
Good evening. My name is Scott Fisher, and I am a member of the Poway USD community for the past 40 years and have been a teacher and an administrator in this district for over 30 years as well, a principal for 24 years. I'm here tonight to talk about the issue of selecting a new superintendent. Before I do that, I'd like to thank the board for the work that you do. It appears to me that politics in general is really challenging work, and you guys take it and you move ahead and make tough decisions that need to be made. So I thank you for that work that you do. I'm here tonight to advocate at the request of no one, just my own opinion, for Greg Mizell as permanent superintendent of Poway Unified School District. I've had the pleasure of working with Greg over the years, and have found him to be the following: honest and integrity-driven, attentive to student needs, always comfortable around kids, a strong communicator, which we need, and an individual who thinks outside the box so often in solving problems. With an important leadership transition facing the district, and with budget and hiring challenges on the horizon, we need a leader capable of addressing these challenges, That individual is Greg Mizell. Thank you so much for your time.
Jill Smith.
Hi, my name is Jill Smith. I'm a mother of a Valley Elementary kindergartner and second grader. I volunteer in their classes often. Today I'd like to talk with you about the overuse of computers in elementary school. Before you judge what I have to say, I want you to know that I have an electrical engineering degree from Cal Poly SLO, and I am an engineer at Cisco. I think computers are incredibly valuable tools, but have nothing to do in elementary school. Before I get specific on recommendations, I'd like to share a quick antidote. Last week, I volunteered in my son's kindergarten class, and even though there were 3 adults in the kindergarten class, half the students were instructed to work on computers at 8:30 a.m. for 30 minutes, prime brain learning time. I'd like to request 3 changes in Poway Elementary School starting in fall. There should be 0 use of computers until 4th grade. There should be a limit on the amount of screen time per day, regardless of weather. There should be no mandated software programs. I'm asking for these changes because the overuse of computers by our kids has major negative health impacts that you are all innately aware of and to be known to be true. They are well documented by medical sources, and I'd be happy to share those. The negative impacts to our kids include physical health issues, increasing obesity, sleep issues, chronic neck and back pain, eye issues, skin damage, and even hearing loss. The negative impacts to their mental health and cognitive ability include increases in anxiety, depression, ADHD, OCD, language development issues, and even thinning of the brain's cortex. The changes I will propose will improve kids' health and learning. Both are currently trending in the wrong direction. The changes will also save the district a significant amount of money, so you can improve health, learning, and save money while doing it.
Tracy Denisak.
Good evening. My name is Tracy Denisak. I have 3 children, one at Meadowbrook who went through the dual immersion at Valley, one currently in 2nd grade at Valley, and my youngest will attend Valley in 2 years. I'm continuing on Jill's topic of the request to eliminate screen time in classrooms for lower elementary, or at least drastically reduce it. According to the American Academy Association of Pediatrics, for 5 to 17-year-olds, generally no more than 2 hours per day of screen time is recommended, except for homework. As a parent volunteer in the classroom over the years, I have witnessed the wasted time on screens for very young children. The kids use the tablets during rotations and consistently use the wrong app or wrong grade level settings. They get 0 value out of the screen usage, and the minutes add up. After AM and PM rotations, iReady time, reading books on the tablet that could be done in a real book, rainy or excessive heat day movies at recess and lunch, which happens often, they have reached or exceeded the max recommendation by pediatricians, and they haven't even gone home yet, where they're getting even more screen time. Better uses of school time for lower elementary kids would be theater, play performances, PE, teachers reading aloud, teachers teaching lessons, students reading to the class discussions, music time for kinder. My 2nd grader writing entire books rather than just 2-page papers, learning through play, art activities, dice games, and even just worksheets. For teachers, the impact of eliminating classroom screen time would be less wasted time acting as IT, setting up, maintaining, troubleshooting, and charging. More time for class instruction and interacting with our awesome kids. The budget impact, by not having computers until 4th grade, the district will save money by not purchasing or maintaining computers, saving on the software licenses, updates, and charging of the computers. This will reduce your need for mental health, speech therapy, and other district services needed due to the negative health effects of excessive screen time.
Sorry, Jenny Hall.
Hello, my name is Jenny Hall. I have one student at TK at Valley Elementary. I've worked for Poway Schools as a substitute teacher and most recently as an impact teacher at Valley. I'm in total agreement with what Jill and Tracy said on the matter of screen time in younger grades. It is impossible to ignore the growing studies, publications, speakers, etc., demonstrating the negative impact of screen time on children. And in my time working in various classrooms at Valley and other schools, I have observed several concerning aspects of technology use, especially in the early grades. I have repeatedly seen the offer of free time on a laptop as a reward for finishing a task. I have seen screen time used as a calming mechanism. For example, a class is having a bad day behaviorally, so a teacher resorts to iReady for the kids to work on individually. Or the weather is bad, so a cartoon is put on throughout the entire school for kids to watch during recess and breaks. Another time, I had to physically pry a laptop from a student's hands in order to move on to the next activity. In another instance, students vying for roles in student council submitted videos about their candidacy to their peers, which had the like feature embedded in the program, a feature popular in social media which has contributed to mental health problems in teens, but this was in 3rd grade. I've observed books being read in class through a video on YouTube. I observe kids who are experts at the preloaded programs on the laptops given to them, but cannot read or write. The list of examples is endless. The aspect of this that hurts the most is that these companies of the programs are profiting off of our kids' usage. I'm fully aware that technology is an important and useful tool in society that can lead to progress and that it isn't going anywhere. But I can't see any evidence that technology is a positive force and is better than books, paper, and pencil at these young ages. No one can deny the importance of playtime and free time at that stage of growth. It is well documented that children are getting less of it than ever. I do hope the district can consider removing laptops from classrooms in those early elementary grades and putting
Stuart Cook.
For years, I've had to protect my children from sick curriculum and people at every level in this district, as well as from outside groups like Jedi and Trans Family Services. Your ethnic studies curriculum says whites believe every negative word in the English language about people of color, and that whites are unconsciously oppressive, providing no references. Someone from the superintendent's office told me that I had no business questioning a black woman about what's in our curriculum regarding oppression because she was black and I wasn't. Teachers and administrators told me that white male perspective needs to be done away with. But if they said black male perspective needed to be done away with, they would have been fired and lost their pensions. My suggestion, if PUSD's people and curriculum don't have anything positive to say about children's race or ethnicity, including whites, then don't say anything at all. The district also collaborates with groups like Jedi and Trans Family Services, who in their own meeting notes say they want to engage 3 to 5-year-old children in discussions of sex and gender, because that's when they're most vulnerable. A quote from Jedi's own documents reads, quote, "Students rely on school libraries for information, even information that some people consider pornographic," unquote. Jedi saying that students rely on school libraries for pornography shows there's pornography in your school libraries. But the mechanism to remove library materials is impossible to use. I have years of receipts for all of these issues and more. All racism, inappropriate materials, and sex and gender peddling by outside organizations needs to be investigated.
Frank Shu.
Thank you. My turn. So good evening, trustees. My name is Frank Shu, a Rancho Penasquitos resident. First of all, thank you for eventually executing your power to fire Phelps, even though you could have done so way earlier if you listened to your constituents. Now that Phelps is fired, I urge the board to carefully review all personnel decisions she has made in the past 2 years to avoid future potential litigations and to reverse the toxic culture she has brought to the school district, especially for the promotions and demotions in the Del Norte High School. A clear example is that please review how 2 softball coaches were fired. Please hire those 2 brave men back, give them proper compensation, and discipline those who carried Phelps' orders to retaliate against these 2 coaches. And Mr. James Jimenez, you spoke publicly here on the November 15th special board meeting in support of Phelps. How much information did you have about the Collaborate when you spoke? Ask yourself, what motivated you to speak in support of her? And it's time for you to publicly admit your mistake and express your apology to the community and to the so-called Team PUSD. Be a role model of our students. Admit your mistake to the least publicly. By the way, Trustee Patel, did you write the November 15th statement by yourself, or someone else wrote it for you? You need to review that process as well. Why would the author smear the community as misinformed when the investigation had not even started by then? Thank you.
Coming up together is Frida Brazel and Catherine Sage.
Dear board members and staff, I'm Frida Brazel, and this is Catherine Sage. And we represent a group of parents, teachers, and community members. Palomar Council, PTA, recently hosted an event called How to Help Your Struggling Reader. The event was well attended, and thank you so much, Heather Plotsky, for attending. There is a general sentiment among parents that their children are not getting a structured, evidence-based reading instruction. Sadly, there is too much going back and forth between Barton, IMSC, CIPS, and other programs parents don't even know the name of. We know that it doesn't work well to mix programs, and one program should be done with fidelity. We appreciate Trenace Sevilla's presentation at the last board meeting. We want to add our concerns as parents. So we're going to list our top concerns. There is a lack of fidelity. Balanced literacy is still being used with IMSC. Many parents report that balanced literacy bookmarks listing ineffective so-called strategies are still being distributed in classrooms. Books with repetitive parents that encourage guessing and looking at pictures for cues are still being used in kindergarten classrooms all over the district. When decodable readers are sent home, they often do not follow the scope and sequence of what's taught in class. That negates some of the benefits of having a systematic program. Administrators and principals were given a brief overview of IMSC, but that's not enough to fully understand the program and make an informed decision regarding the implementation. We heard from some parents attending that their students receive IMSC in their gen ed classroom, but that they are taught balanced literacy during special ed.
This continued use of balanced literacy approaches for decoding skills is especially harmful to our children in special education. So please, let's ensure that only structured literacy and evidence-based programs are used. We do need a continuation of structured literacy in 3rd grade and beyond. We need a better plan for students who are not at grade level in 3rd grade all the way to high school, because those students are still in our district. IMSC has provided the how for structured literacy, and that's a great first step. But many teachers are still missing the why, and that may be part of why we're seeing this mixing of methods. We would like the district to offer a program like Letters, or similar, to teach the science of reading, which is independent of curriculum, but gives the foundation in the knowledge that teachers need to be most effective in this area. Another issue, many parents are sharing that SIPs did not help their children. Unfortunately, SIPs does not have very strong efficacy data, and I'm happy to share the comparisons I've done. And it doesn't incorporate all the available science of reading in instruction and decoding. I sat with some of the developers just recently at the the Reading Leads conference that was held here in San Diego, and they are making some changes to their program, but it's not enough. They're not doing a full overhaul. So there are better programs available, IMSE being one of them. MTSS for decoding skills really works best if the same highly effective program is used in all tiers of instruction, but the intensity is increased for those children who are struggling, and the teacher providing that instruction is highly trained and so better equipped to identify the weaknesses and address them. Why isn't IMSE being used by our impact teachers and other Tier 2 supports when it's already in use for general education and special education? Having a continuum of support can help children to not have to learn new routines and new program terminology, but focus on the skills they're trying to master.
Thank you. We have one left. Sarah Torres. Sarah Torres? Did I get it right? Is Sarah Torres here? No? Okay.
Thank you, Clerk Couvret. That takes us to the consent calendar. Is there anything that any member would like to pull? Clerk Couvret?
We have a comment on 5.4D.
4D, okay. Anything else to pull? No? Is there a motion to approve except for 4D?
Motion to approve except for 4D.
Thank you, Dr. Patel. Is there a second? Second. Second by Dr. Seitzma. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, that passes 5-0. Let's go to 5.4D. This is approval of resolution number 55-2024 entitled Endorse the Proclamation of the Month of June as Lesbian, Gay, Bisexual, Transgender, and Queer Pride Month. Ms. Peterson.
This item is as stated by President O'Connor Radcliffe, is a resolution whereby Poway Unified School District and our Board of Education endorse the proclamation of the month of June as Lesbian, Gay, Bisexual, Transgender, and Queer Pride Month. The attached resolution serves as support that the Poway Unified School District and the Board of Education recognize and honor the month of June as Lesbian, Gay, Bisexual, Transgender, and Queer Pride Month.
Thank you, Ms. Peterson. Clerk Couvret.
Lenny Seachrist.
I noticed that you listed in the consent calendar recommendation by Learning Support Services to approve a resolution proclaiming June as LGBTQ Pride Month. The agenda item caught my eye, not just because I believe it's completely inappropriate to groom children, but because I could have sworn this resolution was on the May agenda last year. So while our district is in crisis, a budget crisis, a mental health crisis, a learning loss crisis, just to name a few, the board is presented with a new LGBTQ resolution that singles out certain people. You added a phrase that in June, the district would create a welcoming and safe school environment. What was it not welcoming and safe before? I have a feeling we'll hear about this desire to feel safe and a sense of belonging ad nauseum through the next school year. I can see why you took out the phrase mentioning numerous students, just mentioning numerous studies, just on the fact that none of these studies were cited. But I'm struggling with the phrase school-aged years are critical time for LGBTQ youth, as they are often in need of support as it relates to their identities. All children are vulnerable and need support. The added phrase about school-age years being critical reminds me of the secret Jedi meeting notes, where the Trans Family Support Services rep shared with the divisive Palomar Council PTA Jedi Committee that ages 3 to 5 is often when children begin to recognize their gender, and we've seen a rapid rise in trans non-binary identification in the last years. There's also been a boom in literature on gender, which can help both kids and adults to learn. Have you seen those notes? I will send them to you, Shelley. It would be in the best interest of the district and students if the board and LSS stopped wasting time and taxpayer money on harmful political moves and started focusing on student success for all students.
Any discussion by the board? Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion to approve.
Is there a second? Motion by Dr. Patel, second, yes, second by Ms. Plotsky. I'll go to, oh, we don't have a, you should be able to vote on this. If you'd like to, go ahead. But otherwise, all in favor? Aye. Thank you, that passes unanimously. Item 6.1 is ratification of the Poway School Employees Association Unit 1 3-year successor agreement, 2023 to 2026. Mr. Jimenez. I know how to say your name.
Thank you, Madam President. We're presenting to you a ratification of a new 3-year collective bargaining agreement with the Poway School Employees Association. It was ratified over the last 3 days and passed overwhelmingly with 99% yes votes in Unit 1. This will be a 3-year contract that will be effective through June 30th, 2026. This evening, the board is asked to approve so that we can move forward with the process of publishing the contract and posting this online for both our collective bargaining unit members and our administrators.
Thank you, Mr. Jimenez. Is there a question, discussion, motion?
Make a motion to approve.
Okay, I'll second.
All right, on a motion by Dr. Patel, a second by Ms. Couvret. Any discussion at this point? No? Very pleased to see this successor agreement. Thank you for your hard work, everyone on the team. All in favor? Aye. That passes unanimously, 5-0. 6.2, ratification of the Poway School Employees Association Unit 2 3-year successor agreement, 2023 to 2026. Mr. Jimenez, you're up again.
Thank you. Included in this successor negotiations was a new 3-year contract for Unit 2 for the Poway School Employees Association. This also was overwhelmingly voted in favor by Unit 2 members with 91% yes votes. This contract is also a 3-year contract that's effective through June 30th, 2026. It will go into effect upon the board's approval this evening.
Thank you very much. Any questions for Mr. Jimenez?
No.
Nope. Is there a motion? A motion by Ms. Plotsky?
Second.
Second by Ms. Couvret. Any discussion? I'll just say I really appreciate the collaboration with our union partners here as well. This is hard work on both sides. I want to acknowledge that.
Yes, thank you.
All in favor? Aye. That passes unanimously. 6.3, initial proposal for contract reopener negotiations from the Board of Education to the Poway School Employees Association, Unit 1, 2024-2025. This is a first reading. Mr. Jimenez.
Thank you. As part of the new PSEA Unit 1 contract that was just approved, the parties are preparing to initiate what is called reopener negotiations for Year 2 of this 3-year contract for the upcoming 2024-2025 school year. Per the provisions in the term of agreement article of this contract, the parties agreed to reopen wages and health and welfare, plus 2 additional articles for each party to select. The district's initial proposal is presented as information only this evening for the public and for our represented employees to review. At an upcoming board meeting in June, the initial proposal will be open for public hearing and comment prior to the board taking action to approve the district's initial proposal. Once it is approved, the parties can then begin reopener negotiations for Year 2 of this existing 3-year contract.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Jimenez on this item? All right, that was a first reading only. 6.4 is initial proposal for contract reopener negotiations from the Board of Education to the Poway School Employees Association Unit 2 for 2024-2025. Mr. Jimenez.
Thank you, Madam President. With the approval of the Unit 2 successor 3-year contract, the parties are also requesting to initiate reopener negotiations for what is considered Year 2 of this 3-year contract for the upcoming school year. Per the provisions of the term of agreement, we agreed to reopen articles on wages and health and welfare, and plus 2 additional articles for each party to select. The initial proposal as well is just presented for information only this evening. It will return on an agenda in June for a public hearing and any comment prior to the board taking action for final approval.
Thank you, Mr. Jimenez. Any questions on this item? No? Thank you very much, then. Move to 7.1. This is a public hearing and approval of resolution number 53-2024, entitled Approval of an Increase in Fees on Development Projects pursuant to Government Code Sections 65995 and 66001, and California Education Code Section 17620. Mr. Little.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. This item is being presented to the board this evening for approval and consideration of an increase in our Level 1 developer fees on development projects, which provide a source of funding for facilities projects throughout the district. Each January in even-numbered years, the State Allocation Board reviews the maximum authorized developer fees that can be charged by school districts. At their January 24 meeting, the fees were increased. The maximum developer fees authorized are currently $5.17 per square foot for residential construction and 84 cents per square foot for commercial and industrial development. In order to impose those Level 1 fees on development within our district boundaries, Poway Unified is required to prepare a fee justification study, which we did and we have and we shared with you. It's in your packet. As you noted, as you reviewed it, the study finds that the district is reasonably justified in levying Level 1 developer fees at the current rate. So we have been levying them, just not at the rate, at the new rate, which was just recently increased. We have with us this evening Justin Morgan of Key Analytics, Vice President. He's here to answer any specific questions you may have. His firm helped us with the fee justification study.
Thank you, Mr. Little. Are there any questions? We did get a nice report in here. I think the last page is the one that the public would probably be the most interested in. You can find that in multiple places on our district website. Our long-range facilities master plan update and estimated facilities costs. Any questions, though, before we vote on this one?
No, I just would like to make a comment that it's good fiscal stewardship to keep our district up with the current recommended fees. It helps us keep pace with our facilities needs.
Thank you. Any additional questions? I will take a motion.
We need a public hearing, sorry.
Oh, there's a public hearing here. Yes, there is. All right, at this time, I will open the public hearing on this item at, what is that, oh gosh, I need it in front of me. 7:38, thank you. The public hearing is now open. Are there any public comments on this item, Clerk Couvret? Thank you very much. The public hearing on this item is now closed at 7:38. And we're back. So now, is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Dr. Patel, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Couvret. I'll start with our student board member.
Aye.
Thank you. And everyone else, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. That passes unanimously, 6-0.
Thank you.
Thanks very much, and thank you for catching the public hearing piece. 8.1 is Civics textbook adoption for a first reading. Ms. Peterson.
Thank you, Madam President. Tonight, we bring forward for a first reading for a new civics textbook. Among the key features that led teachers to recommend this title include the alignment to the California History Social Science Framework and civics content standards, as well as the ability for students to learn through debate, discussions, and simulations. The new text includes Supreme Court cases that reflect more contemporary social issues. Representative teachers from our high schools reviewed and piloted materials before recommending McGraw-Hill's United States Government textbook. This is a first read only.
Thank you, Ms. Peterson. Are there questions on this item? No? All right. Would you mind sharing, you already answered this for me, but would you mind sharing with the public, why are we adopting a new textbook again?
We are adopting a new textbook, A, because it's current, B, because our current textbooks are from the year 1999. And so we are limited in supply, as well as the quality of the copies available to our students. Many are in disrepair and, again, not current content or contemporary content.
Thank you very much, Ms. Peterson. And this is a first reading. 8.2 is presentation on revisions to the Expanded Learning Opportunities Program and expenditure plans. Ms. Peterson.
Once again, Madam President, thank you. In PUSD, we have a wide range of programs supporting students and families beyond the typical school day. At this time, I would like to invite Christine Carrera, Director of Preschool and Before and After School Programs, to come up and present an update to the Extended Learning Opportunities Program, which is state-funded and supports comprehensive and intersessional learning opportunities for unduplicated students, which are defined as English learners, students eligible for a free or reduced price meal, or is a foster youth. Ms. Carrera.
Thank you. Good evening, members of the board and cabinet. As you're all well aware, the state of California requires all local education agencies to implement the Expanded Learning Opportunities Program, or commonly referred to as ELOP. For the benefit of our community members that may be less familiar with the program, please allow me to share a brief overview of the state's legislature's intent. Next slide, please, Mr. Garcia. So the ELOP was established by AB 130 back in July 2021, which requires all LEAs to provide a minimum of 9 hours of programming daily to all students in grades TK through 6. That's inclusive of instructional minutes. It also requires LEAs to provide 30 non-school days of programming for a minimum of 9 hours each of those non-school days, and it requires LEAs to prioritize services, expanded learning program services, to its lowest income communities. In subsequent legislative updates since 2021, it's been clarified that effective this school year 23-24, that districts must offer the program to all unduplicated pupils, which includes homeless, foster youth, those eligible for free and reduced price meals, and English learners, and must provide access to the program if requested by a parent or guardian. And it's the intent of the programs to provide programming that's complementary but not duplicative of what's happening during the regular instructional school day. So really a focus on enrichment, educational enrichment, and other enrichment opportunities that aren't available during regular instructional programming. So next slide, please, Mr. Garcia. I did want to mention, if we could go back just really quick, I'm sorry, that by leveraging our existing ESS and ACES programs, PUSD actually exceeds the state's minimum requirements. So we're operating between 9.5 to 11.5 hours on all regular school days, just depending on the school start time. And we're operating 48 non-school days, which include February, April district recesses and summer sessions. Thank you. So there's been a substantial amount of work that's been done to launch and implement this new ELOP program since the initial program plan was presented to the board back in November of 2022. So some of these highlights is that ESS fees have been waived for all income eligible students. So those done in partnership with Food and Nutrition Services through their verification of eligibility. Our department has been able to provide that relief to families as required. Priority access to the ESS and ACES programs have been provided to our English learners, as also required by the ELOP program. We were able to expand our ACES program, which operated at 6 middle schools, currently operates at 6 middle schools, and previously had only operated at 5 middle schools, not including Oak Valley, and was taken from a 9-month school day program to 12-month program. So we're able to operate in the intersession and summer at Oak Valley with this funding to provide continuous services to middle school students.
We also were able to increase the availability of the Valley ACES program in partnership with Moat Inc., Miss Itzy. I know Clerk Kuvrat's very familiar with Miss Itzy's program there. We were created a single comprehensive program blending both the ACES program and ESS program together as one just really big ESS program at Valley. And so we were able to take a 9-month program, ACES, and extend to 12-month services for students primarily accessing ACES, were our UPP students who were limited to just before and after school services on all regular school days, but now can access summer enrichment through ESS. It also includes free access to before-school programming for all students at Valley Elementary through the ACES Before School Grant, which is unique to that site. So even though that's an early start school, we're able to provide a before-school program to that community. Through this funding, we've also been able to enhance enrichment opportunities that you're seeing in ESS, in particular, through partnerships with organizations like YMCA and Sing and Speak Spanish. We're bringing targeted enrichment to certain sites, prioritizing those additional services to our lowest income communities, but also making that opportunity available to all other sites that want to start to implement it. And a big one for this year was our centralized program application management system. So all families now, instead of applying to the program at their local neighborhood school, they apply through a centralized district application management system that's housed here at the district office, which was developed in partnership between our before and after school department and IT. It was a project that was started back in September and has just launched this season. So that'll be ongoing. It also establishes prioritization criteria based on education code as required by ELOP, as well as community input from families that were waitlisted last July. That was one of the first things I did, was ask for community partner input on what we should prioritize as a community for those that are waitlisted. And most recently, just last month, we passed our first internal audit for ELOP, which is a big accomplishment. Flying colors. Next slide, please. So a couple of updates that are pretty notable in the program plan for this version. Everything's pretty much the same, but we added some key components to make sure that we're fully compliant with all of the state's requirements for the program. So one is implementing a sliding fee scale for ESS. So this is going to be implemented effective this coming school year, and it's going to be based on the state median income ceilings and mirror the process for income eligibility that we do for the California State Preschool Program. And luckily, my department also operates that program, so we're very familiar with that. So that'll give relief to families who are not meeting the federal income guidelines for free and reduced price meals, but may be still in need of additional support. And then we have the implementation of a continuous quality improvement program. The state requires that expanded learning programs engage in data-driven continuous improvement. So we'll be implementing a centralized data-driven process to be able to collect feedback from all educational partners that have an interest in improving the ESS and ACES programs, so including students, parents, and other community members. The next big thing is around quality standard for quality staff. So developing a recruitment and retention strategy for our program aide and lead assistant positions. As you all know, we have many community members that are disappointed every fall when we cannot enroll their families in ESS. And the biggest contributor to that is not having enough qualified staff to be providing the program. So we're going to be working very intentionally this year with our labor partners in PSEA, as well as the Personnel Commission, to be able to develop a more robust recruitment and retention strategy for those very key positions. The other thing we're going to be doing is implementing a systematic and onboarding training for all staff. As you may know, many program aides, they're young staff. This might be their first or one of their very first jobs as an ESS program aide. So we're going to be implementing a standardized onboarding training that includes, just general professionalism for first-time employees, and of course, how to engage students and youth through a trauma-informed practices and inclusive practices. So that's happening, and we're going to be continue to expand academic and enrichment opportunities. Most notable will be the expansion of our ACES sports program, our intramural sports, to have that opportunity available to students in grades 6 through 8 at Design 39, because they're the only ones that have been left out of that so far. And so we want to make sure we include them. Next slide. And then lastly, we have, along with the program plan, is the ELOP expenditure plan, which has been updated to remove the one-time funding, the ELOG funding that's no longer available for our program. The plan sections were revised just for greater clarity on what the funding was going to be used for. It was reorganized so that expenses are organized and allocated by a percentage, because the funding is fluid. So it's based on a funding formula that's tied to CalPADS data for UPP students in the prior fiscal year. So every fiscal year it will be different. And so we want to make sure we're able to operate flexibly depending on the exact amount of funding that we get. And then, of course, priority to fund direct services to students. For any funding that's not expended on its original intent will be moved directly to direct services. And next slide. I just thought I'd end with a few pictures of students in our ACES and ESS program engaging in hands-on, exciting enrichment opportunities, learning to sew. That's, I believe, the Camel Dairy Farm, and some students engaging in some STEM activities. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Carrera. This was a good presentation. I had a few questions, but you answered them before.
Good.
Before I got them written down, even. So thank you. That was very thorough. Board members, questions? Yes, Ms. Carrera.
Thank you.
So, thank you. I have a couple questions, sorry.
Sure.
So, I'm so excited to see middle school sports and activities coming back. I think that was sad when that went away, so that's super exciting. Couple of questions on how do you're saying you're assessing the program.
Mm-hmm.
Are you looking at increasing attendance rates? Are you looking at increased test scores? What are you doing to see the benefits?
Well, number one, we're trying to increase the quality of the program, first of all. And our students will be the first to tell us if we're engaging them in quality programming. So they'll be our first kind of focus to try to get feedback on what they want to be experiencing in these programs. There's definitely different standards that are out there for expanded learning programs, such as skill building, and so that's where kind of like the academic piece might be able to be tracked. And of course, ELOP does require that our programs provide daily opportunities for academic enrichment, which include things like homework support or tutoring. And so all of that's going to be a focus of our programming in the next several years. No, please.
One more question.
Of
You say the
course.
funding is fluid?
Yes.
And yet we're offering more hours and more days. Does that amount that we're able to tutor change depending on what the funding is annually?
That's a very good question. I think because the funding is so new, we'll have to keep really good track of it and really good track of what's sustainable for us right now over the years as the funding changes. I think we're positioned well just with what we have with ESS historically, bringing in funding through parent fees. And, the implementation of the new sliding scale will also change our overall fiscal picture for ESS. So we'll just have to really monitor it very closely to make sure we're able to maintain those levels of services. And if not, then obviously we'll have to maybe scale back a little bit. 48 non-school days is a lot. It's above and beyond what the state requires, but we were already offering that level of service to tuition-based families, and it only seemed right to be able to continue that for students that are being supported through state subsidized programming. Yeah, you're welcome.
Ginger's question had me trigger a thought as well.
Okay.
So I wanted to make sure that your thought was completely addressed, because I heard it differently. Is there any expectation that this program and this funding will have an improvement on kids' attendance, discipline, achievement in the regular school day? Is there any expectation that we will be tracking that and following?
We
how to
can.
benefit?
It's not currently required by the state, but if that's determined to be an important, yeah.
That's what I was hearing you were asking.
Yeah, I mean, if that's determined by, educational partners like the board and parents, and as something we want to track, we can certainly build that into this centralized data collection process that we're going to start to build.
I'm intrigued by that, because I think it would help us make sure that we're providing services that are in line and, sort of synergize with what we're doing during the school day.
Absolutely.
So thank you.
Of course.
Thank you for being open to that.
Oh, sure, of course.
Dr.
Thank you.
Seitzma.
So you've indicated that it's offered to all of the UPPs. Do you know the percentage offhand? Are a large percentage of our kids participating in this, or?
The UPP data, the last I checked, it was approximately 20%, but I could double check and respond to the board. But it's about 20%.
Is there, and maybe this isn't just for you, maybe this is for everyone up here, is there an expectation that this funding is going to be stable?
That's a good question.
Anybody? I don't want to put Director Carrera as the only one on the spot here. Anything that anyone has heard from our...
We anticipate that this funding will be stable. I think we're in our second year of the ELOP, or
Yes.
the second year of the ELOP funding. We anticipate that it will be stable. It is a quite large expenditure on the state's part. And so it is with an aim to ensure that, really sort of to your question, Kurt Couvret, are we tracking data for students and their attendance and how these support services before and after school may impact student attendance and their performance within the day? It really is the aim of the state and the hope that the state, that through these comprehensive supports beyond the standard traditional school day, that we are helping students be successful and be at school and have some place to go when a parent's work day may not be conducive to getting their child at 2:45 in the afternoon.
I appreciate that. I just always think that we think things like this are wonderful, and then we find in Sacramento that it lost its champion or it got moved into a
That's
different
true.
category, and
Yes.
now we have to fund it on our own without their help. So that's always terrible. But I like the funding and what we're using it for. It looks great to me.
Yes, cautiously optimistic.
Yeah.
I think we have to move forward in that
I
way.
will give you credit for your optimism in this funding climate from the state. This is an action item to approve this expenditure plan. So if there are no further questions or discussion, I'll take a motion.
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Dr. Patel.
Second.
Oh, who gets it? Dr. Seitzman gets the second. And I'll go to our student board member for the first vote.
Aye.
Thank you, and everyone else, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, that passes 6-0. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
No. 8.3 is field trip approval process. Ms. Peterson.
Thank you, Madam President. At this time, I would like to invite Executive Directors David Lemaster and Kimmy Lochtefeld, along with Frank Isa, Director of Risk Management.
And can I ask them to hold, because we have a public speaker first?
Of course, yes.
I don't want you to walk up here and then have to move again.
So when you come up, or when they come up, they will share information about the field trip approval process in PUSD.
Okay, Clerk Couvret.
Rochelle Babler.
It's been brought to my attention that not every field trip is presented on the list provided to the public. I've also been made aware that there is a risk management manager in our district that is running around and denying our students from having these experiences. On international trips, it is my knowledge that there's actually no litigation on any one of them, and for local trips, it's car accidents, which as we know may happen. Talk to your JPA. So why are trips being denied to our students? Do we not trust staff? Some might perhaps take it this way. Or is it because you don't want your name mentioned in any litigation? Field trips are not a problem area. Can we focus on the problem areas and not nonsensical ones, or ones where poor decisions are made for personnel reasons? Is the risk manager accountable for every kid not going on a trip? The problem is not the process. The problem seems to be risk management. The risk manager should implement what the board desires, not assume the role of the board. They have not been elected and should be taking counsel from you. And lastly, I just have to say this. Michelle, your comment about Mr. Zhu's pronunciation of Mr. Jimenez was so incredibly rude. Yep. As a board president.
Ms. Babler, I did not comment on anyone's pronunciation but my
You
own.
did. Everybody here heard it.
Go
I even
back
saw
to
people
the
here shake
tape,
their
my
head.
darling.
So you're going to make the recall process really easy. You did.
Shelley Mead.
Good evening, everyone. Wow, this is a long meeting. I just wanted to say thanks for letting me pop up here and say a little something about the field trips as well. So my name is Shelley Mead. I'm a mom of 3 PUSD students here, elementary, middle school, soon to be high school. I'm also kind of a long-term person for PTA and PTSA. I've been on the boards for 9 and counting years. And I'm just kind of here on behalf of the kids and parents that might not get a chance to come up here and say anything, and to encourage you guys to retain rather than remove, or sorry, rather than remove or restrict, rather, field trips. Sorry, that's a lot of R's in one sentence. Sorry about that. You guys already know that these are community and experience-based learning opportunities for the kids. They teach critical life skills such as BizTown with the money management, working in career fields and such like that. They have historical significance such as at the USS Midway, the Californian, which tie into the maritime and the colonialism subjects. They also demonstrate cultural relevance, like at the Kumeyaay Interpretive Center, through natural teamwork and co-op learning experiences. I could kind of go on and on, but I'm afraid that thing's going to click off. So these are just a few examples of this valuable enrichment learning opportunities that these field trips provide to all of our future leaders at PUSD. So let's try and keep them amazing if we can. Thank you. That's all. That's all.
Okay, proceed with the presentation, please.
All right, now at this time, I would like to invite Executive Directors David Lemaster, Kimmy Lochtefeld, and Frank Isa, Director of Risk Management, up to share information about the field trip approval process.
Thank you. Good evening, Madam Board President, board members, Interim Superintendent Mr. Mizell, and cabinet members. Thank you for the opportunity for us to share with you the field trip approval process for in-county, out-of-county, and overnight field trips. Field trips are a positive factor in motivating students and enriching their learning experience. To that end, these activities must be well-planned and carried out with safety as a priority and in a consistent manner to minimize district liability. You will see, next slide, Ed Code 35330, which refers to the assumption of risk, meaning that parents understand and accept the risks of field trips and that they theoretically waive all claims against the district. However, Ed Code 444808, there are limitations to the district's relative immunity from liability with respect to negligence. Next slide, please. There are three main reasons why we re-examined our approval process. We receive a high number of out-of-county and overnight field trip requests. Second, schools had their own way of planning field trips, as well as some of the changes of school personnel that called for a need for a clear and consistent field trip approval process to ensure student safety and limit district liability. And finally, there have been significant changes in insurance, which Mr. Isa will speak to later on in our presentation. Next slide, please. We were already moving in the direction for systems alignment. For example, prior to 2020, high schools shifted from having students visit amusement parks, which with limited educational benefit during the instructional school day, to taking trips either in the evening or on non-school days so that students did not miss key instruction. These trips are of higher risk, and middle schools were beginning to align. We then created a systemic approach to the approval process so that all schools can plan a safe and enriching learning experience off campus. Many considerations must be well thought out to ensure we return our students back to school safe and sound. We formed an overnight field trip committee. We ensured broad representation of staff across our system who handle the many different aspects of planning field trips. We met regularly last year and had check-ins this year. Next slide, please. This year, we refined our process based on site feedback. We created a streamlined online process in order to be more efficient with transportation requests, required forms, and financial procedures. We listened to our site teams and gathered the feedback and made those adjustments. The lessons we learned informed our in-county and out-of-county approval process. Next, please. A question we always ask ourselves are, how do we evaluate and approve in-county day trips, overnight, and out-of-county field trips? Our response is it's a balanced approach. Let's use this scale to represent how we weigh in on approving these types of requests. We ask, does the educational, social, emotional benefit outweigh, or is there a balance between the level of risk to students and staff, cost of the trip, and liability to the district? Mr. Isa will now expand on liability and insurance. Next slide.
Thank you. In the post-COVID era, we've experienced a great deal of market turbulence with respect to insurance and the actual landscape itself. There's been a great deal of consolidation. We have less lines of coverage and opportunity from our insurers. Many have moved out of California or decided not to do business in the public entity space. As a result, these dislocations have caused significant increases in what we consider to be premiums on the consumer side, but contributions on the public entity side because we're self-insured, and Poway Unified School District is also self-managed in many of its programs. There's been a great deal of change in this scope. Basically, the breadth of the claims that public entities are facing and experiencing post-COVID. In addition to that, the actual expenses with respect to the settlements and actually resolution of the claims themselves has increased rapidly. Next slide. In the 2023-24 school year, the district conducted an exhaustive and very comprehensive analysis of JPA partners throughout Southern California to determine which JPA or which partner would meet the needs of the district as we move forward. We have very unique needs as a district of our size. There was a unanimous decision by the panel to move in a new direction, and we moved from Keenan & Associates to the San Diego County Schools Risk Management and Joint Powers Authority. We believe that they're our best partners moving forward because they give us local control. We have a great deal, greater breadth of qualified claims. We have increased coverage limits and the liability side of things, and we have more opportunity to have direct control of resolving the majority of our claims that fall within what we call the self-insured retention, or our layer that we retain as a district. The effects of the underlying coverage, we feel it gives us a broader opportunity to take more control and actively participate in the process. The net district fiscal impacts, we've saved a significant amount of money that we believe will be realized over the next couple of years as we develop adequate reserves in a new insurance program. Next slide.
Thank you, Ms. Thank you, Mr. Issa and Mrs. Lochtefeld. So one of the most often asked questions we get is, why are we no longer approving field trips? The answer is we approve the majority of trips that we receive. To date, we've approved over 150 trips. There have been a few that have been denied. However, we've worked with the groups who've requested the trips on alternative options, and they were provided as well as suggestions on how to restructure those trips. As you can see, there's a great deal of information that we gather and a lot of planning that goes into approving these school trips. Our goal is to help support the site leaders to get to yes when possible, especially for legacy type trips. We have been and will continue to meet with ASB directors, classes, clubs, PTSAs, foundations, and teachers who are requesting to take students on trips. Part of the meetings are to educate and to help them understand the changes that have been made, and to the insurance and increased costs for trips and safety, as well as discussing alternatives and possible restructuring to the trips to get to yes. As parents and educators, our highest priority is to return our students to their families in the same manner in which we receive them, both physically and mentally. When we take students off campus, regardless of the reason, our families expect their students to be returned to them whole. Our goal is to provide trips that will allow students to have memorable and educational experiences, many which were just described by our speaker, in a safe and positive manner. So we thank you for this time, and we welcome any questions that you may have.
Thank you all for the presentation. Any questions?
We have a lot, and let's keep going around.
Yeah.
I'll only do
All right,
I'll-
we'll
I'll
start
do-
with Dr. Patel.
I'll do one at a time so that everyone gets their chance. So for full transparency, I've got a daughter at Mesa Verde, and I know there's a lot of concern around the families there, 8th grade. There is a tradition, you mentioned traditional field trips. There's an 8th grade traditional field trip to, at the end of their middle school education process, they get a fun trip to Knott's Berry Farm. And clearly that has been denied. And there seems to be a lot of back and forth on what alternatives might be. How did it get to this point, and why is that field trip in particular? Why was that removed? I know there was a lot of concern around the similar field trip at many of the other middle schools as well.
Is that a question?
Yes, that is a question. How did that happen, and what is the background for that?
From my perspective, this being the third largest district that I've participated in, most districts have moved away from field trips of this nature during the school day. And they've been restructured for a variety of reasons. For the most part, no district is really insured for 500 kids to participate in any one thing at one time. If there's a catastrophic loss, that'd be one consideration. The instructional minutes would be another consideration, and the educational value would be another consideration. But most districts have moved these trips to a Saturday to where it becomes more of a private event versus a publicly sponsored event. So that's kind of where the landscape is. And we do a lot of market analysis too by calling districts that are same size and scope as us to see what they're doing. It'd be considered one of the best practices in the insurance industry. Yeah.
I'll add to that. Mrs. Lochtefeld mentioned that the high schools were already moving in this direction. So back in 2013, 14, and 15, our high schools would take students to Disneyland, the seniors. And so those trips were all moved to a Saturday. And so that work had been done prior to 2020. So when we came back, schools were resuming those trips. The high schools had already made that adjustment. They were no longer taking those trips during the school week and during the school day. It was outside of the school day, and so the middle schools were still engaged in that. So it was kind of a continuance of where we had already been and where we were going.
Sorry, quick follow-up question. Did these middle school 8th grade classes know ahead of time that they were to schedule that on a Saturday? Or, I mean, did they know that that was what they were supposed to do to make it happen? Insufficient time to make that schedule change?
We talked with them, and I know last year they took those trips.
And so as we came into this year, we started having those conversations early on so that they could begin to restructure them and have that in place. And we do know some middle schools are going on a Saturday. Mhm.
So my question is, when you're looking at field trips, now that the majority of classes are inclusive, how are we supporting students with disabilities attend these trips? Are they especially when they have limited amount of chaperones, spaces, because parents, especially when they are late at night or Saturdays, parents aren't allowed, or they're very limited of how many can go. Like senior night, I know there was an issue that we couldn't buy extra tickets to Disney for seniors.
I'd be happy to address that question. That's an excellent question, and one of the things that in our process, we learned that that was an area that we needed to shore up to make sure that all students could participate. So a student who has a requirement for additional support, we built into our system, so that whole system's alignment was to make sure that we were asking every group, are there students who require additional supports? Not only around supervision, but there's students who may have medical needs. And so all of those forms and procedures really help school teams think about how are we going to support our students so that they truly have full access and can experience the day trip or overnight field trip with great success.
So if a student has one-on-ones or things like that, they're sending one-on-ones with them or something?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thanks.
Heather, if I may, one thing that we're all aligned on in the spirit of the Ed Code, anytime you have a population identified to go to a field trip, we make sure that all have the opportunity to participate or no one does. So it's something that's central to our core.
Can I follow up on that quickly? When you say we're moving field trips such as amusement park trips to weekends, that completely takes it out of a school-related field trip, correct? So there is no requirement that all students be allowed to go or that it be made accessible or affordable, correct?
It is true that all field trips are optional. It is not a requirement. The main requirement is that if a parent or a guardian decides that they don't want their child to participate, such as like sixth grade camp, that we would have to provide other alternative activities back at the school site.
I'm talking about the exact opposite. A parent does want their child to be able to participate, but they can't afford it or they can't send an aide, and it's a weekend trip, and now we're no longer required to provide that help.
It's certainly, now hearing how you're phrasing that, I understand the question. We would always want to make sure that trips that are school-sponsored, district-sponsored, all of those requirements are put into place, and we can still have those type of trips that are not on school days. There are also trips that we can have that we would encourage a private trip, and so that is another way of not school-sponsored, but non-school sponsored trips to occur without having the.
So that's what I'm trying to get at.
Right.
When we put it on a non-school day, it's no longer a school-sponsored trip. It doesn't fall under our insurance, and we are no longer required to provide any of those assistance pieces for our students.
Yes,
Correct?
you're correct. But I do believe with a district this size that we have the ability to address those nuances and support students. I think we could find a mechanism to do that.
I sure hope so,
Right. Yes.
because
And
it sounds terrible.
Right.
No, and I would say that we did that in the cases where we went on a Saturday. We would pay for aides to be there. We would cover those. So we would never deny a student, even though it was an event that was held on the weekend. We would work to make sure that students were included, and we would also scholarship students who couldn't necessarily afford, who still wanted to go. We would find ways to scholarship them and get them there.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
I'm
And if
glad
I
to
may-
hear that. Thank you. Sorry, I jumped out of my place in line.
No, I do know that it's not happening across the district. That's why I'm asking the question. I'm hoping you get it rectified by next year, but it definitely did not happen this year for all students. It was not happening across the district.
Thank you.
Students like things like prom, that's an event that's sponsored by ASB. There's not somebody gonna be there and those are out of town. They're not there. You can't count on a senior buddy to take care of, because they have a date, to take care of another senior. You can't take care of send somebody to Disneyland from like 9 o'clock till 2:30 in the morning that's got autism when you don't have a one-on-one. So if the school specifically is not taking care of it, it's not during school hours. If we do not have a one-on-one and someone guaranteed that there's there, we can't even guarantee we give one-on-ones during the class day most of the time. How are you gonna spend $300 to send your kid when you don't know that there's going to be somebody there? So Michelle's correct. Like, I know specifically, I've had parents say, I couldn't send my kids on the senior trips this year because they told me no. There would not be any supervision. So my kid's going to be wandering around, not even know how to get to the gate. So I want to make sure that this is corrected for next year, that there's something going on.
Thank you for that.
Is it okay to switch away from the special needs side of it? So I happened to go to the Palomar Council meeting the other day, and this was a major topic. I see that get to yes. I see, the insurance. I see that, and it's really frustrating, and I feel that it's been kind of run amok. And I think that we're not doing the best interests. And as you're talking about how insurance has changed, it sounds like actually now it's more in our control, which means we should be able to make the decisions on what are feasible field trips to go on. And what really made me angry is when you kind of say, well, we want our kids back safe. We've always wanted our kids back safe. Nothing has changed on that. So why all of a sudden are we being more restrictive? And who decides what's educational and what's not educational? Because I think going to Knott's Berry Farm as an 8th grade class is more educational than watching repeated movies in some of the classes that is going on at the last week of school. So don't know if there's a question in there. I guess I can pull one question out of that is, how has the insurance changed when it sounds like it's more in our control that we are now at jeopardy to allow more of these trips?
It's within our control to resolve the claim after the claim has been filed, not more in our control to allow a broader array of field trips. It's once a claim is filed, once a district experiences a theoretical loss, we have more ability to directly manage that and directly address it within our layer.
One follow-up. Have we
Sure.
seen our insurance claims increase over the past few years, or are they staying the same?
As an independent school district, we have seen significant increase in our claims. And as an aggregate, because we're a member of a pool, we're not only independent, but we're also interdependent with the other schools that make up our pool. We've seen a significant increase in claims across the board.
And this is a direct result from field trips?
With respect to field trips, well, we've seen claims as far as injuries are concerned resulting from field trips.
See those numbers, because it would be interesting to see where they're happening and which field trips are causing the most injuries.
Yeah, as a follow-up to that, I think we would like to see that tracking maybe over a 10-year time period, before, after COVID with the different insurance, right?
Yeah.
If we have that, we should have that information.
We'll do the best we can to track it down.
Thank you.
Most of my questions have been answered, and I echo a lot of the frustrations, as being a part of the community and hearing, parents that are questioning, why this is happening, and, we have those questions as well. So I only have one question based on, we were giving an older slide deck. This was a different one that was presented on the screen. I'm curious about on your FAQs when you've said, are we saving money? Is that related to the insurance, or is that related to sending these kids? Because I know that we are all, almost every single field trip that our kids go on, there's a fee that's attached to sending our kid. And sometimes they're saying, if you're able to contribute a little bit more so that someone else who can't afford can go, you're welcome to do that. So I'm curious about the statement on this one, or do we save money? I'm trying to connect the dots.
I believe that was a question that was posed as, with respect to the insurance programs now versus what we had in the past. So I believe that's what that question was referencing, and the answer is we have saved significant amount of money in changing from the prior insurance program with Keenan to the San Diego County Office of Education program.
Okay.
Through that program, do the other schools that are part of the county JPA on this, are we all required to have a similar policy on field trips, or is this just the way we interpret it? Because as a JPA, our rates are going to increase based on what all the schools, all the districts within that JPA do, not just us.
Yes, we're tied to a larger district pool of about 10 to 12 districts, I believe, somewhere in that area.
Are
And we
other
we
districts
are very similar.
adjusting what they're doing in the same way we are, or are we saving everyone money and taking their liability?
I don't think I can answer that question. We've only been there for a year, but we tend to be pretty aligned, you know.
So I have a question then coming up on our board policy. Definitely calls out that trips may be conducted in connection with school-related social activities. They need not be educational solely. Social activities are specifically called out in our board policy. Additionally, our administrative regulation it says that high-risk activities such as amusement parks may be allowed if parents sign a waiver. Can you talk about signing a waiver?
So there's a natural assumption of risk document that's pretty much aligns with the 35330. And that assumption of risk, I think you can say in prior years, really created a blanket of immunity for school districts, that you're participating in something on your own volition, and there are associated risks, and we're disclosing these things. In recent years, that blanket immunity has diminished greatly, in the sense that if plaintiff's counsel can make an argument that there's some relative negligence on behalf of the district, and there are a variety of areas where that can happen, especially when there's harm caused to students in one form, whether it be physical or emotional, our opportunity to throw something out in summary judgment as a fact of law has diminished greatly. And judges are allowing these claims to pass through and have a jury of our peers determine the outcome.
So what I'm hearing there is that perhaps we will need to change our board policy or administrative regulations, or both, to either align with what's happening now or say, no, we're not okay with this, and we're going to take on the extra risk. I don't think our current board policy and administrative regulation aligns with what is happening currently. I do think we need to look it over because it doesn't match.
I agree that inconsistency seems to be problematic, and I think it's where parents are going to see why and what is causing field trips to be approved or not approved, and the lack of consistency may be in whether staff are following those maybe outdated policies and ARs versus what, they're trying to adhere to going forward based on recommendations they've heard verbally. So it does seem like we need to adjust or update our policies and our ARs to align with the current landscape. And I would like to know which other schools are involved in that JPA pool. You don't have to answer that now, maybe in a follow-up. I think that would be helpful to know what those other districts are and what their field trip policy is. That should be a board policy that we'd be able to pull up pretty easily.
Well, also, as we're talking about making things even across the district, we have some middle schools that are going and some aren't. We have had routine field trips going on for years and years and years. Can there be a template? Because what I'm hearing also is people apply for it, 30 days later they're denied. They're not told exactly why they're denied. They have to kind of guess. Then they re-put it in. They wait another 30 days and they're denied again. And they're like, shoot, I didn't guess right that time. So when we're talking about these, is there, because, again, talking about Palomar Council, we have incredible volunteers who are trying to help our teachers and our administrators so that they can move things along and make your life easier too. If you want to go to Knott's Berry Farm on your 8th grade trip, here's what it looks like. Give me the date, give me the number of kids, and you'll be approved. Is there some sort of thing that we can do for you know, the whatever, all these traditional BizTown, all the ones that we have to get approval for, so that it's just more concise and easier for our volunteers and for our teachers, and so that they can get approval faster. Exactly.
So
Oh, yeah,
BizTown,
Star of India.
BizTown
Oh,
was a
yeah.
field trip we did participate in as a district. So that was not, BizTown is something we do participate in.
We've approved that.
Yeah, right, right. If I may, as I spoke earlier about the consolidation, that's also happened on the vendor side as well. So there were some activities that we were able to participate in as a district, and then when we received the terms of usage, for a lack of better language, the contractual terms, vendors have also tightened that up quite a bit too. And so we try to partner with our vendors and look what we call mutual indemnification, which means you're responsible for what you cause, we're responsible for what we cause. But vendors have moved to a different platform to limit their liability, which basically says anything that happens is your fault, within the scope of the law, what's legally defensible. In addition to that, many, due to the consolidation, many of the larger vendors that we participate in don't have jurisdiction in California. We're not allowed to enter into contracts that don't have jurisdiction and resolution mechanism in the state of California.
Can you give me a couple examples of these vendors?
Yeah, so for instance, a lot of them would be like a third party that's an intermediary that actually creates opportunities like World Strides. Many of these people are incorporated outside the state of California for a variety of reasons. Right. Anyone who's incorporated outside the state of California does that to limit their liability because California tends to be relatively litigious. And so a lot of times they'll have resolution mechanisms that you waive all your legal rights, which you never want to enter into either as an individual or public entity. They have very strict resolution mechanisms like binding arbitration and the jurisdictions outside the state of California, which means none of our council is licensed to participate in legal services outside of California. So that has been rather problematic. I can't assure you that those weren't the terms prior to COVID, but they are definitely the terms that we are subject to now in some of these contractual agreements.
So I'm looking at, again, different slides than you have out here. So you approved 156 total, according to your papers, sheet, field trips this year, but you only had 6 denials. So we have 7 correct middle schools. So I'm guessing the 6 denials are to Knott's Berry Farm?
No, I don't believe so. Not all of our middle schools had Knott's Berry Farm
Okay.
as a planned trip. I think one of them, for sure, I know in my mind, does not do this trip,
Okay.
has not done this trip.
Well, yeah, that, because there are 7, but.
But I don't know, I don't know what those exact 6 are. I know that we have approved the majority of trips, and when Knott's Berry Farm has come up, we have spoke with either the PTSAs or the ASBs or whomever had concerns about it. I know at one school I met with teachers and talked with them about it and tried to help them come up with another plan to create a trip and experience that they were wanting for their students. And so they were able to come up with an alternative trip and plan that worked for them, but that's how we would handle it. So I don't know exactly what those 6 were, but in those instances, we worked with the schools or the foundations or whoever was asking to take the trip to figure out a way to do something either different or get to yes for that particular venue.
All right, because I just want to make sure we're all aware that this is 6 denials. is
I
what
don't
we're
think
showing.
that was inclusive of in-county, out-of-county, and overnight. I think that's much too small of a number. That's why the slide was removed.
Okay, that's why I'm asking.
So I think, I'm trying to look at, why the board asked for you to present this. There's a lot of community confusion between students themselves, that we had a couple kids in their report mention it, right?
Yep.
Parents are talking about it, whether in PTA and foundations or outside of it. There's a lot of confusion around it. Is there a communication strategy that's being conveyed to the teachers on how they can talk about some of these field trips going away, or maybe, what's going on? Because I think part of this is managing expectations around what is approved and what isn't, and then creating a clear, transparent communication strategy so that parents know how to manage those expectations and have respectful conversations with their staff and with their students at home. So is there a way that we can help smoothen this process out while we go through it, so it's not so emotional?
Absolutely. So thank you for that. I think that that's an important next step, is now that we have a really good sense of what the asks are, and to be able to provide that guidance for schools and students and families.
I have one specific case, just because I'm pretty close to the city of Poway, and Palomar Council heard my frustration on this one. I don't know if the sixth graders or seventh graders used to always partner with the Poway Community Center and the pool, instead of being locked in their classroom during graduation, which is no educational value. And I guess they can't be in more than 4 inches of water or something like that, and that's why they had to not be able to go to the pool. And I talked to the city today, and they really want to make it work. The city of Poway welcomes our kids to come to the pool. And how to get to yes? What is it? Do we need to have a 10-to-1 adult-kid ratio? Do we need to have an extra lifeguard? What do we need to do to be able to get these kids to be able to go into the swimming pool? Swimming is mandatory in what, 9th grade PE class? So it's only 2 years away. So I know we can do that. So it's just a matter of, okay, if the insurance policy says this, what is the volunteer ratio? Because I know our parents would step up to help versus keeping these kids locked in the last day of school. So the city of Poway wants to partner with us. They said that they have given everything they can to us, and we're the roadblock, which really makes me sad, because it's our kids that are hurting and our families, and also obviously our reputation. So thanks.
I'm not seeing anyone else with burning questions or comments at this time. Just to try to summarize where we go from here, board. I'm hearing a lot of frustration up here. I think that our board policy and administrative regulations don't necessarily match what we heard there. I feel like we may be looking at, are we asking, directing staff to bring us some recommendations for amending board policy and administrative regulations so that we can look at something concrete that matches up with either what the board would want it to say or what staff is recommending, and go from there?
I think that sounds good, but I would also like to have that follow-up information to inform our decision on what those changes might be. So I want to make sure we're looking at the same information when those recommendations come forward.
Well, we certainly have to adopt any amended board policy, so it would definitely come to us again.
But I want to see the information that informs those changes.
I got it. Okay, so we're asking for some information. Okay, do you want to restate the information you're looking for? Or are we trusting that someone wrote it down and got it?
I got it.
Okay, so we're asking for the information to the questions we've asked and the concerns we had, and then moving forward after we receive some of that, considering an amended board policy or administrative regulation or both to see if we're in agreement with the direction we're going here, with a full understanding of all of the consequences of changing anything, et cetera, because I think it's quite possible that our presenters out there didn't understand the consequences from our perspective, and we didn't understand the consequences from their perspective. Okay, we got it. Thank you. All right. Anything further at this point? All right, there's nothing to approve here. We thank you for your time.
One last comment.
and-
I know
Oh,
this
one
isn't
more.
going to happen before our June meeting, just to reasonably set expectations around timing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to call a quick recess here. Can we make it 5 minutes? 5 minutes. Oh, I'm sorry, I should say the time. It is 8, oh, God.
8:37.
Thank you, 37.
At my, my close clock, so I don't have to guess. This takes us to 11.1, approval of regular board meeting dates for calendar year 2025. This is a first reading. Associate Super, oh, I'm sorry, you're not Associate Super. You're an interim Superintendent, Mizell. Does anybody have a problem with any of those dates? Nope? Okay, I look forward to approving those next month. Moving on. 12.2, recruitment process for a new superintendent, including possible creation of a board subcommittee and use of a search firm. This also says throw to Mr. Mizell, but really this is our item, so I'll just take it. The goal for this item is to decide on new steps for our superintendent recruitment process, obviously. Do you have speakers on this? No?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, let's do that.
Okay. First up, sorry, I'm all over the place here. Rochelle Babla.
Is the fourth time the charm? The past 3 superintendents had to be terminated for cause due to misconduct. The broader problem is not the superintendents, it is the judgment of the board members who select them. Our district operates with a total lack of oversight, no key performance indicators, and no accountability. The failure is at the very top. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me 3 times, shame on the board. The superintendent oversees an annual budget in excess of $530 million and holds in their hands the well-being and futures of nearly 35,000 young students. The position pays close to $500,000 per year with benefits. PUSD families and students deserve and can afford the best of the best. And at the minimum, the board should consider the services of the San Diego County of Education for the superintendent search, costing little to no money, potentially saving taxpayers upwards of $40,000. Either way, key professionals who specialize in this selection process must be utilized. Given the current lack of public trust in your decision-making capabilities, I urge the board to postpone any appointments until after the upcoming elections, which are just a few months away. Many community members have expressed their views on social media and seem comfortable with Mr. Mizell serving as interim superintendent during this period. Some of you are personally responsible for selecting our recent, now terminated, superintendent. All of you fumbled the decision to dismiss an individual who is known to bully and harass children and families. Your overall decision-making and voting record are central to the problems our district faces. Given these concerns, I believe many would agree that it would be prudent to wait for new, trustworthy leadership. Thank you for considering these points.
Frank Shu.
Excuse me. I'm here to urge the board to make the recruitment process as transparent as possible and learn from the past mistakes. Consider merit over anything else and listen to a wide range of PUSD community instead of just one-sided opinion. So Trustee O'Connor, Radcliffe, and Trustee Patel, you were 2 of the 3 trustees who voted to hire Phelps. First of all, 7 years ago, you violated Brown Act to announce that you picked Phelps over others without an official board meeting conducted publicly. Please make sure you won't do that again. Also, you 2 made then trustee TJ Zinn flip his vote from a more qualified candidate to Phelps over one weekend. I suspect that you actually hired her not because she's a better candidate with integrity, but because of her identity. Your past decision put the school district in a very bad position when now the school district needs the public trust badly. Please put merit over identity politics and anything else this time. Last but not least, please listen to the wide range of PUSD community instead of just opinions from one research forum. By smearing the community as misinformed before you even started the investigation, you clearly demonstrated that you have a dangerous and harmful habit that you listen to only one side story, even when you were making critical decisions for the school district. Please correct that behavior this time. By the way, I teach kids' Bible regularly in my church, and those lovely kids sometimes make fun of my pronunciation as well. I believe they would learn from past mistakes and won't do that when they one day grew more mature and maybe became a school district board president like Trustee O'Connor Radcliffe. So again, please learn from your past mistakes.
So the goal for this item is to decide on next steps for the superintendent recruitment process. So I think the first item on our agenda here is whether the board is interested in retaining a search firm to help us. And I'd open that up to discussion.
I wasn't aware of a San Diego County situation. What does that look like?
That is assistance with a search as well. So even if we want any assistance outside of our school district, the answer here is yes, let's get help.
Yeah, I think we need to get that help. And if we can include the county one, we should do that.
I think we should
the board did
acknowledge, that
Yeah.
none of us are human resource professionals.
No. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so that was easy consensus. So here's what that could look like. I would work with staff and council, invite 3 to 4 firms. I'm spitballing, 3 to 4. Last time we had 4 firms come in and talk to us. Invite them to submit written materials to us about their qualifications, so the services they'd provide, the cost, what they consider to be best practices in this search. From past experience, the timeline, community engagement in the process are things that we'd be interested, I think. But once we get those, then we'd invite them to an upcoming board meeting. I would suggest a special meeting so we don't bog down a regular board meeting with that, and do that as soon as possible. They'd make some brief presentations to us, answer our questions, and then as a board, not necessarily in that meeting, but we could do it in that meeting, vote and select one of those. That is generally how that might go. I mean, I'd be open to adjustments in what that might look like, but that is generally how it looks in every district that goes through this.
Well, one of my main concerns is to find out what the community feels. I
Sure.
think from the last bond try that we did, as well as what we've gone through with this, I think that we need to really listen to not only the teachers, but the staff, and I know Mr. Mizell's done a really good job trying to get a sense of that. So as we try to find the right group to lead us this way, that's a really important key, I think, is to bring all those players to the table.
So that's-
And the reason why I say that is I think our last bond group that we had missed the mark. So I want to make sure, I know California is a very special state, so we don't want to go nationwide necessarily, but I do think they need to have a sense of what Poway is.
So these are some things that we can ask them to present to us when they come to a meeting or in their written materials that they submit to us, what the public engagement piece they explain that we would like a lot, and ask them what that process looks like to them, what they feel like best processes are. Yes, Ms. Trivedi.
Also maybe figure out some way to include some sort of student input,
Yeah.
Whatever would be appropriate in that case. But I think one thing we probably want to do is try to, continue bridging the gap between the board and the students, and just make sure that, students are, happy with the decision that's being made.
I think it's important that we do have a firm that has proven track record and experience with, actually doing the community engagement piece. While I wasn't on the board when the previous firm was chosen, I think we did see areas that we can improve going forward, right? I don't think it was the best process at the time, but I wasn't a board member when that process got initiated. I think there were some complications there, if I remember correctly. So I
There
think
was significant community input that went on for well over a month, in person and online. That doesn't, just because it took a long time doesn't mean it was well done.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think with keeping the scope focused in California educators, where we know that they understand ed code and California law, because California public education is done very differently, I think that'll be beneficial as well.
One
That's
thing-
something that the board did not necessarily agree on last time, so.
One thing in keeping with the timeline too, I don't know if we can decide right after their presentations, that might be, unless there's a complete standout, I don't know if that's going to happen. But as far as community engagement goes, we're looking at July or August, and that's when everyone's not really here. So we're kind of stuck on that timeline of it getting pushed more towards a September time to get that community engagement. So I think our timing is a little difficult with summer where it's falling.
I agree with you. I think selecting them as rapidly as possible, it would be great, but the next step after we select them, there are some limitations in the summertime, yes. Yeah, I agree with that.
I'd like to see does the San Diego County Alpha side, do they have a selection process for
I have
this?
no idea, but I
Or
would definitely reach out and find out.
Or AXA, or whatever the version of our words.
CSBA has a firm that they recommend as well. I'm
Okay.
sure that there are recommended firms, and I know the different districts in our county, it's kind of the usual suspects who come in. It doesn't mean that there aren't others that would be good, though, so
I just was looking at we
Yeah.
have if those kind of places that are less costly
Yeah.
have something.
I
as
will
we're
say that last
entering
time
this.
around, CSBA's recommended firm was the most expensive, not
Okay.
the least.
Well,
But
then that's
I'm
not
not
what-
familiar with the counties, or if
Yeah.
CSBA is still recommending the same firm as they were, 8 years ago, but.
I had some of
Yeah.
the school board association, I was thinking might have one as well. Thanks.
I would just like that, whomever we have come and present to us, they are able to provide us something in writing beforehand, because this is a really, really big task that, most of us have not been in this position before, where we're having to hire someone, let alone hire someone that is gonna impact thousands of people. And to be able to just kind of see in writing their process, and it's, right now, I have so many questions, I don't even know where to begin. And I just want to make sure that I'm doing, right by everybody.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I want to make sure that the public knows that just because we're hiring somebody, that we are not crossing out people that work within the district as well, that they can apply. Just because we have an interim does not mean that they cannot become permanent, or other staff can also apply.
We are not barring anyone from applying
Yes.
from a position just because we hire a search firm to
Yes.
help us.
I'm just saying, I
Yes.
want to make that public.
Yeah.
So.
All right. So I guess at this point, there's a couple other things here. If you guys are, I don't know if we have perfect consensus during this conversation. So if there's a motion, I'd maybe looking for something that the board president would work with staff to contact potential search firms and request written materials and schedule them to come in to present their qualifications.
Do we need to put together kind of what we're looking for to send out to attract these firms, or just which comes first? This is what we expect from you, who wants to present on this?
So I can tell you that last time the board did this, again, 8 years ago, we did send out a pretty lengthy packet of things that we wanted. The board did not really give any input into that. Staff pulled it from other sources, which was interesting. And when I talked to an employment lawyer who our district already contracts with, talked to him about what this might look like, he said that districts don't do RFQs, that that's kind of an outdated method, and that they just invite firms to submit. I think for us, in an invitation to say what we're looking for makes a lot of sense, but it doesn't have to be something necessarily that we go through, ask our human resources department to write up the qualifications for their next boss. That's kind of weird. So I sort of understood what they were explaining. If this board would like to write up something, we could discuss that now, or I might suggest that we do a board subcommittee of 2 board members to work on this. Otherwise, maybe we see if there are the county, CSBA's, AXA's recommendation, people who have worked with other districts in the county. If that's a group of 4 that just is like, oh, of course, those are the 4 you ask.
I haven't done this before, so that's
What, what about if we put out that all call, right? You, as board president, you can work with staff to just put out that all call. And then we have another board meeting in early June, and by then we can have a motion that includes, or have an agenda item that includes what we'll be searching for in a search firm. So this isn't what the search firm will necessarily be asking as a qualified superintendent, because that we will do with the search firm, right? This is what are we looking for in a search firm? What are their areas of expertise? You know, what superintendents have they placed? How long have they placed? How long have those superintendents last? What kind of ongoing coaching might they provide for that superintendent? We can ask what their areas of expertise are, and we can come up with that list. But right now, let's just put out the all call and
I think that's important. That's one thing that I was surprised going to the CSBA events is we are a rather large district, that there's not many districts our size, so different firms aren't used to picking a superintendent that has necessarily all the capabilities that are necessary to run our district. So having that definition, I think would be very, very helpful.
So as I'm searching for what we're saying, I feel like we're talking about after we select a firm, what we want to do with them. So as far as helping to select a firm, to inviting firms to come, are we comfortable with me working with staff and council who are already experts and have done this before with other districts to bring in 3 to 4 or even 5, if that's the number that, you know, exists in our space? Are we comfortable with that piece? And then the board weighs in as much as we like at that point to tell them, once we hear from these firms, see what they recommend as best practices, we'll see if we agree.
I think 5 would be good, actually.
Well, I guess I'm just throwing out, I have no idea how
Yeah.
many
I
will
think
even come
3
in.
would be too narrow.
Last time, we only had 4 reply when we asked, when we opened
Up-
it up to
up
the
to
whole
5.
world. So I have a feeling that 4 was a lot, because some of them were not from in-state. And are we comfortable with the beginning of that process, at least in bringing in firms to tell us why we should hire them?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
I think I heard you right. I kind of would be more comfortable if we had a motion and a vote to make sure that I'm hearing you. I
make a
think
mo-
I heard you, but I want to be sure. Let's get this on record.
I make a motion
What's your motion?
that you work with council and staff to bring in 3 to 4 lawyers and attorneys.
No.
No,
The search firms.
Search firms.
Okay. Okay. I hear that motion. Everybody agrees they understand the motion by Ms. Plotsky. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, can we vote in favor of this? You can be included in this, Ms. Trivedi.
Aye.
Okay, everyone else? Aye. Okay, so that passes unanimously, 6-0. I think the next thing maybe, is there interest in establishing a board subcommittee of 2 members to work on any logistical issues that come up at this point? I mean, I can do this first part, but do we want to? I'd be comfortable if one other board member was kind of in this with me, so I don't feel like I'm walking out there all by myself, thinking I heard what you said, and maybe I didn't quite get it.
Well, what I would like to see on that is that there's 2 people, you and somebody else, put together a list of questions. And it helps, again, to go off of somebody else as you're trying to assemble the best list that you think encompasses as much. Obviously, anyone else is welcome to add questions when they come. But if we have the foresight to really be organized, I think that would be very valuable.
And I think that's maybe
yes, that could be the beginning at least of what that subcommittee would do and present it to the rest of the board. The subcommittee is not making any decisions for the board as a whole under any circumstance. It would just be, the board is obviously going to be responsible for interviewing our search firms and making that decision. The subcommittee would not do that under no circumstances, but
I think it would help with the structure, though, of how we go about trying to decide, because right now we're all going, wow, I don't even know what's going to be coming in front of us. So if two of us can really work off each other, I think that might really allow structure for the process.
So I guess I'm kind of phrasing it at this point as a subcommittee to work on logistical issues related to the process at this point, because we're not going to work on we don't want the subcommittee to take away anything that the board needs to do as a whole. But to work on logistical issues, that's kind of broadly stated, but, okay, who wants to be on this subcommittee so we can have a solid motion and vote on the subcommittee idea? I'm going to say me because I'm already on the first part. You'd like to be on it, Cindy? Okay, so this is the logistics subcommittee of Dr. Seitzman and I on this. Okay, is there a motion, a second, and a vote on that? And then I think we're done with this item for now.
I'd like to make the motion to form a subcommittee, including Board President O'Connor Ratcliffe and Board Vice President Dr. Seitzma, to work on logistics in selection of the selection firm.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I will second that.
Thank you, Ms. Plotsky with the second. Okay, Ms. Trivedi, you can take the first vote on this one as well.
Aye.
Thank you. And to everyone else? Aye. Okay, that sounds unanimous, 6-0. Thank you all. These are really just the first of many decisions and steps we're going to be needing to take as this process progresses. It is the most important job of the board, so I just want to thank everybody for taking this seriously even today, just for our first initial baby steps here. Okay, that takes us to 12.1, board member reports. Let's start at the end. Ms. Trivedi.
So the weekend after the last board meeting, I got to attend the Breakfast of Champions ceremony honoring student athletes. And it was just so cool to see 2 athletes from each of our high schools be honored for their contributions, not only in athletics, but also academics, and their ability to maintain a high GPA despite handling, some of them were tri-sport athletes. All the athletic stuff was really amazing. And also we had some really cool guest speakers, like I think a former player on the Padres, and a really cool speech from a police officer who had a really inspiring story to share. So I think it's really amazing that these student athletes are doing some really great work, also just through community service in their communities. And then the week after that, I got to be a part of the process in choosing the next student board member. And I'm really excited for Sinead Kiley from Del Norte. And we chose her just because of there were many qualified applicants, but she really stood out because of her commitment to giving back to PUSD, and despite having many awards and everything, her main focus was on the tutoring work she does across different schools, and just sort of the on-the-ground impact she has, and that I think really resonated with us as a subcommittee. And then on Wednesday, I attended the Pursuing Passion, Not Perfection event for our 8th graders and their families. And I think it was our second year as the superintendent's advisory council doing it, and I think there were a lot of things that really improved from last year, including sort of giving more time for parents and students to talk to each other, to make sure that parents weren't hearing one thing and students weren't hearing another thing. And we also had this sort of mock college interview panel that modeled sort of the college application evaluation process for our students, which is really interesting. And I hope to see something like this continue even after this year. I think it's a really cool opportunity for students to learn. I think there's just so many misconceptions and myths surrounding going into high school and what boxes you have to tick, and that's kind of part of the mental health problem, and the academic problems that we're facing. So I think it's really cool if we can continue to do an event like that. And the next week I got to hear from a lot of teachers and parents who came up to me during school hours and said that they went there with their kids and they got a lot out of it. So that was really cool to hear. And then today I finished my last AP test, which, AP classes is not, I know, not the most exciting experience for students, but I'm grateful that I'm grateful that we have this opportunity to, get college credit and take advanced classes. The amount of APs we offer in our high schools is pretty significant compared to a lot of other high schools. So I think that's really cool. And this is also Teacher Appreciation Week. So I think going into high school, I realized that, we appreciate our teachers not just for teaching us things from the curriculum, but also being mentors. And now towards the end of the year when we have less work to do, I still find myself, going to study hall or Wolverine time or, tutorial, just asking for advice on, how to, approach academics or, balancing time management, even beyond high school. And I think that mentorship that our teachers provide is something really invaluable for all of our students. And so we should appreciate them, not just this week, but every week. And this month, something I look forward to working more on is there have been a number of laws passed in California recently trying to empower more student voice on school boards, and so sort of seeing what we can do to make sure that future student board members have as much voice as they possibly can on issues regarding things that affect students. So that's all for me.
Well, congratulations on being done with APs. That's a big deal, considering I have a house full of that right now. Good evening, everyone. Happy to use my time with you to share out a few of the events I've attended on behalf of the district in my role as a trustee. We are officially in celebration season, so some of my updates will be around celebrations that I attended. I was also delighted to join several of our board members and Board Member Trivedi to celebrate with our scholar athletes at the Kiwanis Breakfast of Champions, where 2 scholar athletes from each high school were recognized and presented with a scholarship check. My sincerest gratitude for our community partners in helping our students achieve their goals. So a lot of times our students are recognized not just in the district, but with partner organizations in the community. And those partnerships are very important. I was able to learn quite a bit at this year's School Bus Drivers and Technicians and Staff Appreciation Day. Not only was this a chance to gather and get to know newer staff and catch up with some of our more familiar faces, we've had several Employees of the Year come out of that transportation department. It was also an opportunity to hear about concerns and possible solutions. Thank you for all that you do to our bus drivers and our transportation department for keeping our kids safe on their journey to and from school, their athletic or after-school activities, and on field trips. In recognition of Mental Health Awareness Month, I was also able to attend the Pursuing Passions, Not Perfection event that our Student Superintendent Advisory Committee, I always get the C wrong, Cabinet, Council, Committee. It was an excellent event organized by our students. It's a completely student-run event. They brought in counselors from a lot of different types of colleges and universities to present to parents. They also put on student panels, and I was able to moderate one of those panels for STEM-related fields. It was 2 sessions of this, full of attendees, students who are interested in STEM pathways, asking seniors and juniors what they did to get to where they're going in their next steps. It was pretty cool. Our students have good inquiry. They asked really powerful questions. It was an honor to join Interim Superintendent Mizell and Principals Kelly Moore of Mesa Verde and Colin Young of Oak Valley in being awarded the California Distinguished Schools for those 2 middle schools. And we received that award from the California Superintendent of Public Instruction directly. Congratulations once again to our 2 middle schools. For Oak Valley, this was their first time earning that award. So big congratulations. I attended the PPMC showcase with Board Member O'Connor-Ratcliffe and Board Member Couvrette. I'll let them fill in the details on that one so they get something to talk about and not get overshadowed by us. But a lot of what Laith Shalal described, I agree that it was pretty incredible to see what they're able to accomplish at that special program that we created just in the last couple years. I want to make a shout out to Westview physics and engineering teacher Dawn Hester. We kicked off Teacher Appreciation Week with a huge surprise celebration for her at Westview. She's also the Option 16 Robotics Team Advisor, and she was one of 4 teachers out of 144 nominees selected for the Honda Random Acts of Helpfulness Prize. Before that day, I never knew such a thing existed. But it was impressive to see employees from Honda come and acknowledge and recognize the difference she makes in her students' lives. She received $5,000 worth of classroom supplies for being nominated for this award, and she was showered with this surprise event, including lunch and much appreciation from her students. Dawn, if you're out there listening, you are so loved, valued, and appreciated. It was pretty clear from that celebration. Additionally, I attended the College Bound end-of-year event to wish our scholars graduating from the program much success in the next phase of their life journey. And with that, I am at the end of my report.
As award seasons are upon us, graduations, promotions are just a few weeks away. Parents, take a deep breath and enjoy it. Be proud. Let your children run to their friends for selfies first, and don't be hurt. For some, it may be the last time they will be seeing their friends, so let them soak in that joy. We all had friends in high school that we thought we would know forever. Now, when we get a friend request on Facebook, or we go to a home for a reunion, we have no idea who they are. Then we have our forever friends, our ride or die, the inseparable friends, and those who we didn't get to go to the same college, or they joined the armed forces, and we miss them as much as we missed our families. When we see them once every 5 to 10 years, or just our yearly phone calls, we pick up right where we left off. I pray all our children have gotten at least one of those kinds of friendships here at Poway in the last 13 years. I attended College Bound graduation ceremony this week. This program is especially special to me, as my second oldest son went through the program in Oceanside. Without it, his future would be much different than it is today as a teacher. Dr. Willis and Miss Martha Parham are amazing community leaders. After the awards and scholarships are given out, each senior went up onto the stage, and as their baby photo was presented on the large screen, they listed all of the college schools they had been accepted to, which were quite impressive. And in their hands, facing their parents in a glass frame, was a letter they had written to thank their adult who for all they had done for helping them to get to that moment. The parents and guardians responded in kind. Some took longer to get through because as they read their letters through tears, and again, the adults returned in kind through tears, leaving the audience is tears as well. As they finished, their senior photo appeared on the screen, and with words that said, "I have decided to attend," and each announced which college on the list they were going to. With each announcement, there was a thunderous cheers from the crowd. Congratulations to all, and remember, thank your teachers and staff, as well as your instructional aides, for helping all of the students get to where they're going this year. And that ends my report.
This time of year, there's so many wonderful events celebrating our students and staff that I do have quite a few, but I'll keep each comment short. First off, I just want to say to Eddie Park sitting in the back, he's still working his magic building international relationships. The visit from the Japanese delegation visit at Poway High School was a wonderful way for us to showcase CTE in America. Everyone knows I'm a huge advocate for CTE, so having the opportunity to induce our philosophy of inspiring passions is exciting. The bus driver appreciation breakfast was a great opportunity to sit and actually listen to our drivers, aides, and technicians. As Dr. Patel mentioned, this department is so important that there are details that need to be addressed to support its success. Again, welcome Sinead Kelsey to our position. We're going to miss you, but I know that we had just an amazing afternoon interviewing all these student leaders, And Sinead's going to be a wonderful addition to the board. For the SSAC Passions, well done to all the students. As I mentioned about student leadership as interviewing for the student board member, this was a student-organized event, and our younger students learned so much more from their peers and their older kids, because we shouldn't kid ourselves that they're much cooler than we are. And I look forward to encouraging more programming where the older students serve as important mentors, especially navigating social media and other stressors. As mentioned also, the PPMC Showcase, everyone knows I support the alternative programs, and this one's especially exciting. Hearing the students talk about their previous negative experiences and the sanctuary and support that this program reinforces, the sanctuary and support that this program reinforces what we know, that not all kids learn the same and thrive in the same environment. I understand the economic concerns, but looking holistically at these programs, I think will determine many options for us. Talking about the community support from like Champion of Breakfast of Champions, the Foundation Golf Tournament. I know we raise lots of money. I want to thank all our community supporters who help us do that. Talking about another student leaders, I got to judge the RB pageant again. And these ladies will learn such skills as navigating conversations with politicians and community leaders and business leaders, as well as performing in 50 other philanthropic activities in 1 year. So during the interview process, we asked them, what is the biggest obstacle for teenagers? And every single one answered that it was social media. So to everybody out there, please attend our last safety summit on Thursday, May 23rd at 6 o'clock, which will have a panel discussing the impacts of social media. Finally, sorry, there's a few more, sorry. College Bound, we all attended College Bound, which really shows a lot of support for, again, these student leader organizations. I always reflect on their code because it takes personal responsibility. We can give everyone the supports that they have, but the students have to take responsibility and do the work. And College Bound reinforces that, and that is why it's a room full of student leaders. As you guys got a mouthful today from me, I apologize, but I have to thank all my PTA members. I know many families out there are juggling a lot, and I thank all those PTA members that give of their time, their talents, and also their treasure to enhance the experiences of our students. And we're going to figure out the field trip and the party issues. And then finally, the elephant in the room is a PUSD leadership change. It's a big deal, and we need to get it right. So while we follow the process, I again want to thank Interim Superintendent Greg Mizell for stepping into this role with grace, as well as the support of all of Team PUSD. And that concludes my report.
Okay. It's only been 3 weeks since we were last here, but while there's only 19 days left of school remaining, the events around the district are unlimited, as my colleagues have mentioned. Here's a few highlights from the 3 weeks that just flew by. I also was at the Kiwanis Breakfast of Champions. Each of the 5 comprehensive high schools selected one boy and one girl scholar athlete who will graduate next month and leave behind a legacy of dedication, sacrifice, and kindness. This was no easy task to select these individuals. These 10 students were honored was well-deserved. Congratulations, though, to all of our amazing, multi-talented, hardworking students. The tour of Poway High School with the Yokohama City Council members was really a unique opportunity and special. This was the first sisterhood of its kind between Poway High School and Higashi High School. We toured all of the CTE programs and were there to witness the official signing of their partnership. Just watching their faces, we've been blessed with having the opportunity to see many of the CTE programs, and I think it's a week from today is the expo, the CTE Expo. I went last year. If you have the opportunity to go, what our kids are doing in the middle school and high school CTEs pathways is just amazing. So that's next week, 5 to 7 somewhere. I don't remember where. RB, so I don't know, somewhere. It's The information's out there. It's someplace in the area. I'm tired. School bus driver and Transportation Appreciation Day, definitely a day to honk your horn and celebrate all these hardworking individuals who coordinate and safely transport thousands of students on any given day from home to school and back again on field trips and athletic events. I don't think they are thanked enough, and we continue to have a shortage, and they just step up and do. The first Elect Her training coordinated by staff at Westview for high school girls around our district was a huge success. Several of us were honored to be on the panel as women in leadership and/or elected officials. The 3-hour training these young women were provided as they begin, or for many have already begun, making their mark as strong women leaders was powerful. These young women were so engaged and eager to learn. I sincerely hope there are more opportunities such as this where our students can come together with other students from around the district to learn and work together. The Ion Art at Poway High, so cool. The community came out to celebrate with these students as they showcased everything from floral designs, photography, short films, ceramics. I could go on. There was live music from the band to a young up-and-coming vocalist who has already written and produced several songs, as well as there was live art from several advanced painters. They were in these huge shadow cases, and they had decorated backgrounds that matched their unique style. I was enthralled at watching these artists live in their artistic element. It's definitely a must-see if you've never seen it before. I also was at the College Bound program. This program enriches our students with the ultimate growth mindset, coupled with a rigorous parent and student engaged program that embodies high standards and a can-do motto. It was exciting to hear where the graduating seniors had committed to for their next big chapter in their lives. In the fall, I was invited to be part of the Twin Peaks Middle School Counseling Advisory Committee. The committee was formed initially as part of the requirement for the RAMP application process. The conversation ideas that are sparked in these meetings have inspired the counseling department to keep this committee ongoing. The students, teachers, staff, and parental contributions are incredibly valuable. Good luck to all of our students in AP exams. We had one checked off this morning in our household. Good luck to all of our students as they head into finals in just a couple of weeks. We can see the light at the end of the tunnel for the 23-24 school year. Hang in there. Happy Mother's Day to everybody. Happy Teacher Appreciation Week. And with that, I conclude my report.
Thank you, Dr. Seitzma. I'm going to skip through a bunch of stuff here that we've already kind of talked about. The Superintendent Student Advisory Council event was fantastic. Poway Palomar Middle College Spring Showcase. That was just joyful as heck, but we did hear about it from their student body president already. Just those comments there love their school. That was wonderful to be at. The College Bound program finale, I really can't beat Ms. Plotsky's storytelling on this front, so I'll leave that be and just say College Bound really is helping to narrow some of our district's achievement and opportunity gaps and improving our student outcomes. Those students worked really hard to get where they are, and so congratulations to them. The Elect Her panel, we already talked about that as well. Great questions, great interest from these students. They are getting ready to run the world. They're on their way. I let slip at one point that I'm a huge fan of student performing arts, and I have since received 2 invitations to different student performances. So proof that they were listening, and they are trying to make connections. So great first steps, and speaking of VAPA, Poway Unified Student Actors absolutely cleaned up in the Broadway San Diego Awards nominations. This is the countywide, possibly even greater than countywide, organization that runs all of the Broadway shows downtown. We had 4 of the 10 Best Actress nominations, 2 of 10 Best Actors, and 2 of 5 Best Musical nominations. So I just want to read them off quickly. Shira from Westview, who played the lead in Mean Girls. Chloe from Mount Carmel, who played Cinderella in Into the Woods. Catherine, who played Fiona in Rancho Bernardo's production of Shrek. Corinne, who played Ariel in Poway High's Little Mermaid.
And then Carlos, who was Shrek at RB High, Tyler, who was Seymour in Little Shop of Horrors at Del Norte, and Mount Carmel's entire theater crew for Into the Woods, and RB for Shrek, for Best Musical in the whole county at the high school level. I can't say enough, if you haven't been to our students' shows, don't miss it. The middle schools are still coming. It's Newsies Junior at Bernardo Heights tomorrow, shows tomorrow night and Saturday. Get out there. They do a great job, and there's a reason Rancho Bernardo High School's program is fantastic. They have an amazing feeder there. I am currently virtually attending the SIP Inclusion Conference, which started today, and I'm really looking forward to seeing our PUSD team presenting tomorrow. I attended the county Salute to Teachers reception with Mr. Mizell, and again celebrated our district county teachers, or our district teachers of the year, who are vying for county and hopefully state, Ross Callen, Elise Milling, and Nicole Stoll. And finally, May is a big lunch, I'm looking at the hero, never mind. It's a big month for School Employee Appreciation. We've got School Lunch Hero Day, Principals Day, School Nurse Day, Speech Pathologist Day, Teacher Appreciation Week, Classified School Employee Week. Last month we had the bus drivers. We heard about that, so I won't talk about that anymore. But the vast majority of our district employees are working really, really hard every single day to do the best that they can for our students. We hear about it all the time. Walk any site in the district and you'll see absolute excellence in action. And sometimes it feels really easy to get caught up in the negative and to jump on that bandwagon. It just gets more airtime out there in the world. But I urge you, students and families out there, recognize and acknowledge at least one district employee who is really good at their job and making an impact that you have personally felt. When I think of people who have improved the educational experience of my children, maybe just even in the past week, just in 1 week, the list is really long. Now is a great time to tell them, don't wait.
So on that note, you took like the first paragraph off. I have a couple of suggestions of people that we can celebrate. And before I make those suggestions, can I just say I agree with you that May is kind of the high five to everybody month. It's nurses, principals, it's classified staff, it's it's administrative assistants. Like, I'm sure I missed somebody, but everybody gets a hug in May. And you know what? In a moment like this, in a moment where we find ourselves presently, expressing appreciation to the people who are here and making a difference day in and day out, the secret sauce to what makes POWA unified, right? Let's make sure we do that, and let's make sure we do that well. So we have a lot of people who serve our students in this community unselfishly, quietly, unseen, day after day, month after month, year after year, right? And I'm going to share just a couple of quick stories. So Lamis Abusalam, how many of you met her? Come on, I got a couple of board members who have. She is an English learner assistant at Bernardo Heights Middle School. She was our classified employee of the year. She advanced to the San Diego County level where she was the San Diego County Employee of the Year. No surprise if you've met Lamis, she is a spark. Like, you hand her the plaque and she takes over. The passion just comes out. She loves our kids. She loves her work. She's not doing what she does for money. It's her purpose. It's kind of the thing that drives her. So she loves our students new to the U.S., and she loves our students who are learning English for the first time, and she is a strong advocate on their behalf. So Lamis, no joke, she's headed to the state level, and my fingers are crossed. I hope she wins some recognition there as well. She's certainly deserving. And then another person I had the opportunity to meet, I was encouraged to attend of all things, a retirement in the back of the maintenance and operations facility. I never have time on my calendar, and a little white spot opened up, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to go. And the group that was gathered was celebrating one of our employees, David McNeil, a locksmith in POWA Unified. So here's David's just quick story. He graduates from POWA High in 1976, proud Titan. He started work in our district in 1974. As a student, he worked in the warehouse and as a substitute custodian. This guy, quiet, unassuming, humble, unselfish, dedicated, highly skilled, and clearly a great teammate. I Googled him. Not one image. He said to me, I like to go about my work like a magician. I said, tell me more. He said, well, think locksmith, right? A door doesn't swing right, or the lock is sticking. He says, I slide in, I take care of the issue, and like a magician, I slide back out. And all anyone knows is that door wasn't working, and now it is, right? And I just thought, there it is. Like, how many years has this guy been behind? Like, just nobody knows his name. He likes it that way. I was really like, it hit me. Well, I'm bringing him into the light now. Yeah, he's retired. He got his bell, the whole bit. It was awesome. Pulled pork. It was a great moment with the guys and the women. Everybody there. It was wonderful. But anyways, this magician-like person, I was reminded in that moment, right, that what makes our district great are all of the someones like Dave, who diligently behind the scenes are taking great care of us, our children, our community. Their faces aren't prominently featured in our social media posts, but they are the people who make this district special. So this month of May, when we're high-fiving everybody, find someone you haven't met, learn somebody's story, because I think if your experience is anything like mine, you'll be re-inspired. So it's a great day to be in Poway Unified and a great time to be serving students in this community. Okay, with that. Studio 701 interns. We have another, what do we have? 2-minute and 24-second video highlighting CTE Student Expo. Well, no, it's not the expo, but I'll hit that. It's the Career Technical Education side, though. This is our Mount Carmel High School Fire, Science, and Emergency Service Program. Let's take a look.
After the call comes in, within minutes, students are geared up and ready to go. When it comes to emergencies, every second counts. These students are part of Mount Carmel's High School Fire Science Program, a one-of-a-kind career technical education opportunity in the Poway Unified School District.
Water's coming! I joined this program so that way I could work on getting better with my skills, so that way I can continue a career in the fire service.
It's a different generation that's coming into the fire service now, so my goal is just to make sure that they are prepared and know what to expect and how to be good firefighters.
Although Mount Carmel's program is focused on fire science, this, along with additional classes in the pathway, often serve as a launching point for other careers as first responders.
We have a good number of students that are looking to either go into firefighting or a first responder either as an EMT. I've had some students that are looking to maybe go into nursing, and it's all tied together.
And that is what many of Martinez's students are thinking about, like April Nguyen and Jackson Resch, who are considering jobs in other fields and gaining real-life skills along the way.
We do some EMT stuff in here, and I just thought it was like, I like working with the patients more than like actually fighting a fire.
Working on our skills the most because it helps us not only with just this class, but also in the real world and with career paths down in the future.
Recently, Mount Carmel students had an opportunity to put their skills and teamwork to the test alongside other schools in the yearly Best of the Best challenge.
We wanted to link all the San Diego County high school programs together and create a competition to test their manipulative skills, their academic abilities.
Mount Carmel competed against 2 other high school fire programs, where they demonstrated their endurance, strength, and teamwork.
It's an army and a team to make this, but the one thing I love about this event is that everybody comes together. It's not just one person. There's so much unity behind it. Everybody is just happy, smiles on everyone's faces. So that's a blessing and a dub to me.
The hope is that their enthusiasm and passion now spark a future career serving our community. For the Excellence in Education series, I'm Mars Pratt, Studio 701.
Studio 701 for the win. So good. And that video highlights, right, our career technical education program, and this is what I was starting to promote here. I want to welcome our parents, students, and community to attend the upcoming CTE Student Expo, hosted by longtime business partner HB, Hewlett Packard, at their Rancho Bernardo headquarters. It's going to be next Thursday, May 16th from 5 to 7 p.m. I want to encourage you to join me there, where our students will be showing off, like this video, their learning in an exhibit-style event, so you're not going to want to miss it. That concludes my report.
Gosh. All right. Thank you, Mr. Mizell. We are not adjourning yet, but we are closing here for the moment and going back to closed session at 9:39.